This is week number 7 in the United States Football League. Today's game between the Pittsburgh Maulers and the New Orleans Breakers is live from the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. The Superdome is climate-controlled. It is comfortable, and thank goodness for modern architectural design, because this morning we had a thunderstorm here in New Orleans. Hello again, everybody. I'm Tim Brandt. The Pittsburgh Maulers suffered through the early season mediocrity that is so typical of expansion situations, but now they seemingly have it all together. They have won 2 of their last 3 ball games, and they are playing extremely well. Meanwhile, New Orleans is 5-1, and they are way at the top of the Southern Division, probably, perhaps, the best balanced division in the USFL. Working with me again is Lee Groscup. And Cupper, when you look at these two teams, there is an obvious contrast in styles.
Particularly in the way they approach offense. Pittsburgh is much more conventional. They like to run to establish the pass. And, of course, New Orleans, we know about them. Very wide open, very multiple in their approach. And they like gadget plays.
They do like gadget plays. Now let's talk about the players. And we'll start with the battery, the Pittsburgh battery, which is Glenn Carano and Jackie Flowers.
Glenn Carano, of course, is a former backup quarterback with the Dallas Cowboys. Off to a slow start this season. He really has improved rapidly in recent weeks. And last week against the Oakland Invaders, he had his best game as a professional. He completed 10 of 15 passes, 3 touchdowns, and he scored once himself, best throwing the intermediate range passes, but can also be effective as a deep threat. Now, Jackie Flowers, what a difference he has made in recent weeks. 10 receptions in the last 2 weeks. He is averaging better than 20.2 yards per catch, and he scored 3 touchdowns last week against Oakland in that game. He's a big, strong player out of Florida State, and I really like the way Jackie Flowers plays.
Now, here in New Orleans, they have what they call the Frankie and Johnny show. Johnny Walton and Frank Lockett.
Well, I think Johnny Walton, Tim, is probably one of the great stories in the young history of the United States Football League. Marginal player in the NFL, leading passer in the World Football League in 1975. Back to the NFL, head coach at Elizabeth City College, where he coached there for 3 years, and then returned to the United States Football League in 1983 and became one of the top quarterbacks there. He literally is a coach on the field. Very quick release, sacked only 6 times last year.
We had a chance to go out to his practice earlier this week. We talked with Johnny, and we asked him what it is that has brought the offense together.
Well, I think it's just the cohesiveness of myself, along with the offensive team spirit. You know, we have been together for a year now, and, you know, we somewhat know each other a little better than we did last year. So now all you can do from that point is just build more and more confidence upon each person. And I think right now we're doing some pretty good, successful things because of our confidence factor.
Frank Lockett has really been an outstanding receiver for them. Big play man, averaging better than 23 yards per catch. He's kind of the Muhammad Ali of the United States Football League, Tim, because he really exudes confidence.
You talk about his confidence. He says there isn't a human being that can cover him one-on-one. The offense is together, and he knows it.
It's me with my great speed, I guess, running past corners, and it's Johnny with his great arm throwing the ball deep, you know, in the opening that I can catch the ball and score with it.
Well, you know, Frank is not making the small mental mistakes like he was doing somewhat last year, but to keep from making those mistakes, you would have to get experience. And I think last year, because of Nolan France, he did not get an opportunity to play a lot of football. But this year, he's playing, and he's doing the things better and better each week.
So we've talked about the passing game. Now, what about the running backs? We've got 3 good ones. We start with Mike Rozier.
Heisman Trophy winner last season, constitutes better than 1/3 of their offense. Buford Jordan, Marcus Dupree, of course, for New Orleans. This might be one of the best rookie tandems ever.
Okay, New Orleans and Pittsburgh coming up. First, we'll go back to New York. Jim Lampley will have a USFL report after these messages.
The great cars of Europe priced far out of reach. Until now. Renault presents the road to affordability. Renault Alliance, acclaimed for its smooth, comfortable ride, with sedan comfort for 5 and their luggage, fuel efficient, fuel injected, European technology that's affordable. $59.59. Renault Alliance, built in America.
The one to watch, the one to watch, the one to watch.
Renault.
I'm Jim Lampley in New York.
There are only 3 games being played in the USFL today. The third game today matches the Memphis Showboats and the New Jersey Generals in the Meadowlands. Herschel Walker is still bothered by the shoulder bruise he suffered a week ago, and he will not play according to Generals officials at that game. Monday night, 2 games in the USFL. Los Angeles will be at Pacific Division leading Denver, and today at halftime we'll have a report on the unorthodox coaching methods of the head man at Denver, Craig Morton. And also tomorrow night, the Washington Federals will be in Houston to play the Gamblers. There were 4 games played in the league yesterday, and of course the biggest news is that after 12 consecutive wins against USFL opposition, the Michigan Panthers were beaten by the strong and improving Oklahoma Outlaws. Let's take a look at what happened in this ball game, which was played in a driving rainstorm in Tulsa. A difficult day for both quarterbacks. The big plays were made by the Oklahoma defense. This block punt by Will Coakley tied the game at 7 in the second quarter after Oklahoma had taken a 7-0 lead. Michigan in white got that run back from Coakley for a touchdown, and after a Sidney Thornton 1-yard run put the Outlaws up 14-7, Bobby Hebert found Mike Cobb with that 8-yard pass to tie the game at 14 at the half. But here's the pivotal play of the game. Michigan, after turning the ball over on 8 of 10 second-half possessions, saw Bobby Futrell fumble this punt, and after Oklahoma recovered the football, Efren Herrera came on to kick a 32-yard field goal on the last play of the game to give the Outlaws a 20-17 victory, which was the first loss of the year for Michigan. Bobby Hebert in that ball game only 13 of 34 for 121 yards and 4 interceptions, and obviously Michigan greatly missed its outstanding wide receiver Anthony Carter, who's out with a broken arm. San Antonio's Gunslingers went to Chicago to play the Blitz yesterday, and after a victory over Washington a week ago, the Blitz were able to make it 2 in a row as they barely got by San Antonio. Opening possession of the ball game, Vince Evans threw this touchdown pass to Larry Canada from 6 yards out. That made it 7-0 Chicago, and it stayed that way until Rick Neuheisel's 12-yard pass to Glenn Starks tied the game at 10 with 29 seconds left in the fourth quarter after Chicago had led all the way. But the Blitz rebounded and came back in overtime. Vince Evans' 8-yard pass to the technical wizard Chris Haynes with 5:35 gone in overtime gave the Blitz a 16-10 victory. Attendance problems remain in Chicago, only 9,412 viewers at Soldiers Field. Oakland was at Tampa Bay, and it was a different story there, where the Bandits drew 58,777 fans for a Bandits record, and they saw a good ball game for Tampa Bay, which needed a win after its first 3-game losing streak of its short history. First quarter, Gary Anderson scored on this 1-yard run, 6-0 favor of the Bandits, and after the missed extra point, it remained 6-0. Fred Bassana had another tough game. He was sacked 6 times in the ball game, and the Tampa Bay defense also limited Oakland to 42 yards rushing. John Reeves was the starter again in place of Wayne Peace. That Reeves to Trevelyan long pass in the second quarter set up Anderson's second TD. 2-point conversion made it 14-0 Tampa Bay at halftime. Third quarter, more of Reeves to Trevelyan. That made it 21-0, and Tampa Bay went on to a 24-0 victory. There was another big crowd of well over 40,000 in Jacksonville across the state to watch the Birmingham Stallions, one of the strongest teams in the league, take on the hard-luck Jacksonville Bulls. And this was another close ball game. It was tied up at 10-10 in the third quarter when Jacksonville went on top, got a 17-10 lead on this Mapus to Marvin Lewis 4-yard touchdown pass. But the Stallions came back. Cliff Stout finding Jim Smith from 38 yards out to tie the game at 17 with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Then the big play of the game, an interception by Herb Spencer against Robbie Mahfouz, and the Bulls are rapidly gaining identity as one of the hardest luck franchises in the league. Spencer's interception set up a 5-play, 42-yard drive that was capped by Joe Cribbs' 11-yard run. The Stallions ultimately winning it 24-17. Cribbs in the ball game, 25 carries, 134 yards, and of course the winning touchdown to bring Birmingham to 6-1 on the season. New Orleans can tie them atop the Southern Division with a victory today. Let's quickly take a look at what the standings show. Atlantic Division, New Jersey and Philadelphia tied at 5-1. Both teams play today. Southern Division, Birmingham 6-1. New Orleans can tie them with a victory today over Pittsburgh. In the Central Division, Michigan now just 1 game ahead of Oklahoma after yesterday's loss. And in the Pacific Division, the Denver Gold on top by 2 games, and they play the Express at home tomorrow night. The biggest story of the day in sports yesterday was Jack Morris's no-hitter against the Chicago White Sox, the team many have picked to go to the World Series. Morris was in control all day despite 5 walks, and we're going to see a little of the action from that game. In the second inning, Chet Lemon hit a 2-run home run to provide, of course, all the offense that Morris would need on his way to the 4-0 Detroit Tiger victory. A key defensive replacement late in the game, Dave Bergman entered at first base and made some big plays, including this stop in the 8th inning to help preserve the Morris gem. And on the last out of the game, Morris got a check swing strikeout of Ron Kittle. It was the second no-hitter against the White Sox in their last 7 regular season games. Despite the 6 walks, not 5 walks, 6 walks by Morris, he got the no-hitter. You'll recall that Mike Warren of the Oakland A's shut out the White Sox on September 29 of last season, so it's the second time in their last 7 regular season games that the White Sox have failed to get a hit. Immediately following this message, you'll be going back to Tempe, Arizona with Keith Jackson or New Orleans with Tim Brandt.
This camping trip was a good idea.
Yeah, it sure is relaxing.
Peaceful.
Groovy.
Groovy? Kind of dark, though. Man, I'm getting thirsty.
Yeah, let's have another light beer from Miller.
Lights, less filling!
Less filling! Less filling! Less filling!
What was that?
The creature.
What creature?
Well, legend has it that a horrible thing stalks these woods.
Oh, Mickey!
And it comes out when the moon is full.
What does this creature look like?
It walks on 2 legs, but it isn't human. It's got big eyes that bulge out and...
It's the creature! Hey, guys, where you going? Hey, guys, where are the marshmallows?
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Come on, it's after us! Man, did you see that thing? Shot to the
ABC Sports presents live from the Superdome. It's the 7th week of the United States Football League. Today's game has Mike Rozier and the Pittsburgh Maulers against the 5-1 New Orleans Breakers. It's the USFL. The United States Football League is an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Today's game is sponsored by Renault, makers of the Renault Alliance Encore and the new Fuego Turbo. For European technology and affordability, Renault is the one to watch. By light beer from Miller, everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. By Skoal Bandits, an individual portion of tobacco in a neat, pre-moistened pouch. For tobacco pleasure without lighting up, it's a pouch instead of a puff. And by AT&T, we're what you call long distance. This is the spacious Superdome in New Orleans. The 2 teams today, the Pittsburgh Maulers and the New Orleans Breakers. Pittsburgh is 2-4. They've won 2 of their last 3 ball games. We mentioned the early mediocrity, but now they're coming around and playing quite well. You see their records as you look now at New Orleans, 5-1. Their first loss last weekend to Birmingham. Tim Brandt and Lee Grosskopf with you. The weather inside is a constant 68 degrees. The feeling here is electric. The capacity of the Superdome is 69,658. They are expecting nearly 50,000 here for this ball game this afternoon, and it could be a good one, Cupper.
You know, an interesting thing about the crowd here is that weather sometimes, bad weather, sometimes helps the walk-up. Because there's so many things to do in New Orleans, people, instead of going to the beach today, may come to the Superdome.
It rained hard this morning. We had thunder and lightning. It has now stopped, but there are showers predicted for this afternoon. It will not affect the play inside, however. It is an artificial surface, a very fast track. They had a wrestling match in here last night, took the artificial surface up. Now they have it back down. It is hard, but it is fast. Some of the players to watch today. Mike Rozier, the Heisman Trophy winner. 90 yards last week. Big ball game in the win for the Pittsburgh team. On the other side of the line of scrimmage, when New Orleans has the football, Marcus Dupree is the big man to watch there. A couple of good quarterbacks. This is your kicker, Tim Mazzetti. He's a good one. Had a couple of short kicks last week. They were trying to just kick it over the front line like an onside kick and get the ball back. William Miller, number 22, is the return man. He's out of Washita Baptist. Amos Lawrence, Johnny Durden are also there. They are the upbacks. Tim Mazzetti's quite a story. He was the bartender that went and played down in Atlanta. Made history on Monday Night Football on ABC. Mazzetti gets off a long kick this time. Amos Lawrence lets it go. William Miller lets it go, and it rolls out of the end zone. So it's a touchback. This is the offensive team for the Pittsburgh Maulers. Glenn Carano, the longtime Dallas Cowboy quarterback. His running backs, Mike Rozier, Walter Holman. His wide receivers, Jackie Flowers, 3 touchdown receptions last week, and Greg Anderson. The offensive line, tight end Mike Shaw. Don Maggs, 6'5", 265. Don Corbin, 254. Chuck Corrales, 260. Joe Lukens, 255. And Dan Dubiago is 270 pounds, a full-grown man. 1st and 10 from the 20. Toronto, first down, quick out, complete to Anderson, 33-yard line. So we talked to Joe Penry, the head coach of the Pittsburgh organization, just prior to the game, and he said they were going to throw a lot on first down in this game. New Orleans defensive line, Mike Robinson, Jeff Gaylord, Darrell Wilkerson. 3-4 is what they run. We expect to see a 4-man front as well. Needham, Merrick, Williams, and Phillips are your linebackers. The defensive backs, a makeshift since they have so many injuries. Jones, Miller, Johnson, and Smith. Eric Johnson, Tim Smith are replacements in this ball game. Joe Restick is out with an injury. Toronto, same play, right side to Flowers. And it's close to another first down. Jackie Flowers, 3 touchdown passes he caught last week from Carano.
Tim, you made a good point moments ago. They're going to go right to work on this inexperienced secondary. Number 23, Lindell Jones, covering Jackie Flowers on the sideline cut. Glenn Carano will be throwing the ball a lot on first down.
First and 10 from the 44. That's Carano. Those are his numbers. Working against the defense, drops the football. Maybe lost a yard. Carano had his best day as a pro last week. He was 10 of 15, 185 yards, and those 3 touchdowns we told you about. He also ran for 1. Carano has a completion rate of 56%.
This is a look at the defensive secondary of New Orleans, and no wonder that Glenn Carano is going right to work.
Second down from the 44. New Orleans now puts 5 men up, shows the blitz, doesn't come with it, and this is Rozier, left side. Mike Rozier goes down, and listen to the crowd. The stop was made by Jeff Gaylord.
Harbison, Wilson, and Joe Restick all out of the defensive secondary today. 3 of their best athletes. Harbison may play, but he's doubtful. So we have Miller, Smith, and Johnson back there.
3rd and 9 from the 45. Flex formation, 3 receivers, 2 split backs. This time the Breakers show blitz again. Carano under pressure, backside, has time, now throws. Jackie Flowers, first down, Pittsburgh. Lindell Jones made the stop on Jackie Flowers.
This is what Glenn Carano does best. I said it at the top of the show. Jackie Flowers, number 84, the wide receiver on the right, running a hook route, and look how he comes back to the football. They're going right to work on number 23, Lindell Jones. In isolation now. Look at this man, because I think he's a good one, Tim. He's out of Florida State playing for Bobby Bowden there. Look how he comes back toward the football. He will catch in traffic.
He led Arizona last season with 63 catches. Carano this time loads and goes deep, intended for Flowers. Incomplete, thrown out of bounds. Jackie Flowers, 10 receptions in 2 games with 4 touchdowns for 202 yards. He is an impressive receiver.
Jackie Flowers and Lindell Jones were teammates last year at Arizona when the team became the Chicago Blitz. Of course, Jackie Flowers kind of got lost in the shuffle, but frankly, Tim, I'm surprised that the Blitz waived him, because I've always liked this guy. I covered him at Florida State when he was a key receiver for Jimmy Jordan and Wally Woodham, one of the most famous quarterback tandems in NCAA history.
This is 2nd and 10. Flowers acquired in a trade with Chicago March 20th. Mike Rozier looks for help on the right side. Blocking, breaks down, picks up a couple. Jeff Gaylord, good pressure there. He's a mainstay on the defensive line, is Jeff Gaylord, 1981 All-American in Mississippi.
That man right there, as we talked about earlier, Tim, constitutes 1/3 of their offense in terms of his all-purpose numbers. He has 19 receptions. If he catches one more pass, he will equal his 3-year output during his days at the University of Nebraska. Most prolific rusher in Big 8 history, surpassing the old mark held by Terry Miller.
Big down here in an effort to sustain the drive. 2 receivers down at the bottom, Flowers and Anderson. Now the line moves up. So do the backs in the backfield. Toronto, under pressure, holds on to the football, but he's sacked. Mike Robinson out of Arizona comes through to sack him. 6'4", 278-pounder. He was obtained with Junior Ayu from the Wranglers in exchange for the rights to Robert Smith.
That's a key defensive play for the Breakers because the Maulers really had a good drive going with the nice intermediate passes by Glenn Toronto.
Larry Swider, number 7, will kick it away. Deep for New Orleans. Tony Good. 4th and 16. They had a pretty good drive going until the sack. Long count. Good punt by Swider. Good. Fields it on the 13-yard line. Breaks a tackle. Looks for help. Picks up a block. Now it's pulled down from behind, so he may have lost 2 yards on the traverse. Ron Freeman tracked him down and made the tackle. So, with 11:14 remaining in the first quarter, New Orleans gets it 1st and 10.
Bigger engines were easy on oil. But today's smaller, higher revving engines are tougher. They begin to break down on oil's viscosity within 1,500 miles. That's why there's Castrol. Tests show Castrol suffers no significant loss of viscosity even after 5,000 miles. So use Castrol. Because if you make things too hard on your engine could make things hard on you. Castrol, engineered for smaller cars.
I like the tax deduction on my IRA, but I don't want to be locked into one investment. You know, what if things change? You ought to call Dean Witter. Dean Witter's IRA 2000 lets you move your money around in any combination of investments. Stocks, mutual funds, unit trusts, CDs, whatever helps you earn more. Dean Witter.
Hi, I'd like to ask about your IRA 2000.
I'm glad you asked.
Get a free booklet about our many IRA plans. Call 800-THE-DEAN. Dean Witter, worth asking about.
Get the whole story with Howard Cosell on the only regularly scheduled sports journalism series on network television. A candid look at the issues and figures behind the headlines. The Emmy Award-winning ABC Sports Beat.
Good. New Orleans defense comes up with a pretty good stop after what looked like a sustained drive by Pittsburgh. Shut him down. This is Johnny Walton, the quarterback now for the Breakers. Buford Jordan, Mark Shalene. Other backs, Charlie Smith in motion. This is Jordan. Left side, picks up 3. Let me set that offensive lineup for you. I mentioned Johnny Walton's the quarterback, Buford Jordan and Mark Shalene are your running backs. Shalene out of Nebraska, Frank Lockett, Charlie Smith, we've talked about them. Dan Ross is your tight end from the Cincinnati Bengals. Ballard, Raymond, McLaughlin, Horton, and Hurley. Mark Shalene comes out. Marcus Dupree and Buford Jordan are now your backs. 2nd and 5 from the 14-yard line. Number 22 is Marcus Dupree. 24 is Buford Jordan. The give is Dupree. Dupree has a first down. He's out to the 25-yard line. Ernest Adams and Jerry Holmes take him down, but it is a first down for New Orleans.
Big story right here, Tim. We were concerned about Marcus Dupree. He's been slowed down by a hamstring injury. Good blocks there on the left side of the line. And look how he comes on there. He has trimmed down. He's lost 10 pounds now. He's down from 248 to 238. And I'll tell you what, for a guy his size, he runs 4.3 in the 40-yard dash. He has unlimited potential.
Dupree comes out. Mark Shaleen comes back in with Buford Jordan. Now in the I formation. Smith in motion. 1st and 10 from the 25. Play action. The pass is complete to Frank Lockett across the 32-yard line. And the defensive back on that side, Yancey, said he was out of bounds. But they make it a catch. Sam Clancy, David Graham, Troy Thomas, and Doug Holly are your defensive linemen. The linebackers, Crosby, Adams, and McKibben. The defensive backs, Bill Yancey, Jerry Holmes, Jeff Delaney, and Dave Langlore. Frank Lockett did not catch a pass last week in the loss to Birmingham. He has one already on the board. 9:23 first quarter. 1st and 10 from the 38. Full house backfield. This is Marcus Dupree. And when's the last time, Lee Grosskopf, you saw the full house backfield?
I think it was Ohio State in 1969. Woody Hayes used to refer to that as the old button-down shoe offense, and I'll never forget a game back in 1968 when the Kansas City Chiefs came out with that formation against the then Oakland Raiders and just demolished them with it.
Dupree is a rare breed because he carries great size, 6'3", 238, although he has lost 10 pounds and still runs a 4.35 40. Shaleen comes out. Dupree and Jordan again in the backfield, this time split backs. Lockett and Smith, the wideouts. This is 2nd and 3. Looked like a broken play. Jordan close to a 1st down. Depends where they mark it. Doug Holly came up and made the tackle. Lockett and Jerry Holmes going after it. Tempers will flare in this one. Pittsburgh, a physical ball club, an aggressive defense. They fly to the football.
There's a lot of talent right there when you talk about Lockett going against Jerry Holmes. Holmes has a reputation of being one of the more physical cornerbacks in all of professional football.
Now we see Tony Good in the backfield for the first time. Dupree comes out, the 2 setbacks, Buford Jordan and Tony Good. Again, Smith in motion. Walton to throw on 1st and 10 across the middle. It's complete. This is Jordan down to the 30, the 29-yard line.
Tim, I really like Buford Jordan, number 24. Watch him as he circles out of the backfield. Johnny Walton, of course, a great touch and timing passer. He's been surprisingly effective as a receiver. He was the best rusher in Louisiana collegiate history during his days at McNeese State. His nickname is Blue Thunder. 24 yards on that reception.
He scored on a 78-yard pass play against Jacksonville. This will be 1st and 10. The ball on the 28. Now they go to the I formation. The pitch back. Marcus Dupree breaks the tackle across the 30, 25, down to the 23-yard line. Marcus Dupree. This program is being brought to you as an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Now let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
WTAE-TV Pittsburgh.
Marcus Dupree, a very smart football mind. However, this is a complex offense with draws and screens, I formations, split backs, shotguns, and we even saw the full house.
Probably as multiple as any team in the league.
2nd and 3 from the 21. I formation. Shaleen and Dupree. This is Dupree. Bangs his way across the 20. David Graham and Marcus Dupree go head-to-head. Who won that battle?
I'll call it a standoff.
There's Dick Corey, last year's Coach of the Year. He is an emotional, genuine, warm coach who cares about his players. You know, and he's been around coaching for an awful long time. Not only did he work as Dick Vermeil's assistant in Philadelphia with the Eagles, but he worked with John Ralston, was a head coach in the World Football League. He was a high school legend in California, where he coached Mater Dei High School to a phenomenal 96-9-3 record in the late 1950s. 3rd and 2 from the 20. The fake. The pass. It's caught. Buford Jordan with a spectacular catch.
This is an amazing catch by number 24, Buford Jordan. Watch him on the left as he circles out of the backfield. Johnny Walton over the shoulder right here. One-hands it right there. Coverage by Langlois, number 24, who gives him a shot right there along the sidelines, but miraculously, he holds on to the football, and they are chanting Blue Thunder here in the Superdome.
Buford Jordan was the Breakers' first-round draft choice, and the New Orleans scouts rated Jordan as highly as they rated Rozier. He's out of McNeese State. He's the all-time rushing leader in Louisiana collegiate football history. Marcus Dupree, the pitch back to him. Hits his first and goal from the 5, left side, touchdown, New Orleans. Dupree, a great block by Mark Chalene.
Watch number 25, Mark Chalene out of Nebraska, the lead block right there, and it springs number 22, Marcus Dupree, who has to outrun Jeff Delaney, number 41, into the end zone, and what a drive by the New Orleans Breakers.
Mark Chalene ran for 450 yards last fall with Nebraska, but more importantly, he was the blocking back for Mike Rozier, the Heisman Trophy winner. He had 9 touchdowns, most ever by a Nebraska fullback. It's his Tim Mazzetti on to attempt the extra point with 5:24 left in the first quarter. So after stopping Pittsburgh, New Orleans comes roaring back, and they score to make it a 7-0 ball game with 5:24 first quarter.
You know people like us, we're teachers, firemen, people just like you. These are the uniforms we wear at work.
But these are the uniforms we wear when we serve part-time in the Reserves and the National Guard.
You see, in the Reserves and the Guard, you not only serve your country,
you're part of a first-rate team,
training alongside real buddies.
Yet while you serve, you can live at home
and keep your full-time job.
Because in the Reserves and the Guard, you don't have to give up one life to live another.
The Reserves and the National Guard. Talk to your local recruiter.
IBM introduces PC Junior, a bright little addition to the family. Junior comes with bright computer ideas, like a keyboard that doesn't need a cord. You can get easy-to-use software like word processing, games and graphics your kids won't believe, plus a starting price you won't believe. And with easy-to-add options, Junior can grow up real fast. PC Junior, new from IBM.
New Orleans 7, Pittsburgh nothing. Marcus Dupree scored the touchdown, but the big play was made by Buford Jordan, making a spectacular catch down deep in Pittsburgh territory.
And as you look at the drive, they went 91 yards in 10 plays, taking up 5 minutes and 50 seconds. That is so important because they are a big play team, and they also used up some time on the clock, and they were very multiple in their approach during the entire drive. They even showed us the full house backfield at one point, the old button-down shoe offense.
You saw Tim Mazzetti, number 5, ready to kick off. The deep man is William Miller, 22. He's surrounded by Johnny Durden and Amos Lawrence. This will be famous Amos Lawrence out of North Carolina across the 20 to the 24. Flags fly and tempers flare.
Famous Amos Lawrence, of course, only one of 2 players in NCAA history to rush for 1,000 yards in 4 consecutive seasons. The other, of course, being the legendary Tony Dorsett during his days as a Heisman Trophy winner at Pittsburgh.
Just as impressive as that is the fact that he rushed for 100-plus yards in 24 games at UNC, and the Tar Heels were 21-2-1 in those games.
Also assisted during the Super Bowl season of 1981 for the San Francisco 49ers, was second in the NFL in kickoff returns that year, returning one of those 92 yards for a touchdown. You know, Tim, in Marcus Dupree, Mike Rozier, and Amos Lawrence.
On the return, holding, number 56. First down.
I was about to say that in Lawrence, Rozier, and Dupree, you have 3 of the finest runners in the NCAA history. Of course, Dupree, his career was cut short at Oklahoma, but certainly potentially you have 3 great ones there. And Buford Jordan, his numbers are impressive.
So they back Pittsburgh up after the holding penalty. This is Mike Rozier around the right side. Marcus Merrick, the linebacker out of Ohio State, comes up to make the tackle. Let's go downstairs now. Working the sidelines for us today is Jim Bergamo, and right now he's standing by with Marcus Dupree.
All right, thank you very much, Tim. Marcus, this is the first game you and Buford have been working together in the backfield. Obviously, it's working well.
Well, it's going pretty good. We got enough backs, some good backs to put in there, and it really doesn't matter who's in the backfield.
How about you're obviously fully recovered from your hamstring, it would indicate.
Yes, I am. I'm still a little bit out of shape, but that comes in time.
All right, thank you very much, Marcus Dupree.
Play action. This is Flowers, complete. Carano, good pass that time on the play action on 2nd and 8. It'll be a first down for Pittsburgh. Bruce Miller, the defensive back on that side. Number 40, he made the stop.
That's one of the things Joe Pendry, who you see right there, told us, Tim, when we talked to him before the game, was that they would like to utilize a lot of play-action passes, and they would like to throw the ball in running situations, perhaps run at times in obvious pass situations.
First and 10 from the 29, the Pittsburgh Maulers. Rozier, here he comes around the right side, across the 30 to the 32. Again, he meets Marcus Merrick out of Ohio State. Marcus Merrick, OSU's all-time leading tackler.
Marcus Merrick, number 56, the inside linebacker, leading tackler on the team last year, leading tackler on the team again this year. You see why. Look how he is in perfect position, fills the hole, puts his helmet right on the numbers, and drives clear through him.
The leading tackler, he doubled every other tackler on the Breakers team last year. 2nd and 8 from the 31. Carano's your quarterback. He's looking for Anderson. Now he drops it underneath to Mike Rozier, and Rozier is hurt. Could be a late hit. There is a flag. Tim Smith, number 44, was the man who came up, and Rozier is hurt. Rozier, Heisman Trophy winner, Walter Camp Player of the Year.
Personal foul, number 51, defense. First down.
They called it on number 51. That's Lawrence Williams.
Lawrence Williams, the inside linebacker, number 51, is called for a personal foul. There it is right there. Pretty obvious.
It's spearing, using your helmet as a weapon. You can't do that. The score, New Orleans 7, Pittsburgh nothing.
Denerex versus Selsun Blue.
This side here, I've got a tingling sensation on my scalp. Feels good. On this side, there's not much any sensation. It's just kind of there.
Look what you used.
Denerex. Feels good. This is the side that was tingling.
Each shampoo has one medicine for dandruff. Only Denerex adds extra anti-itch medicine many dermatologists recommend.
The tingling felt like, hey, it's happening now. Selsun Blue's lost a customer. I'm a Denerex man.
Denerex shampoo or shampoo and conditioner fights dandruff and its itch.
Bronco 2 never made it. S10 Blazer 4x4 never made it. No four-wheeler ever made it. Until the new Jeep Cherokee Sport Wagon became the first to win all 3 4x4 of the Year awards. And Jeep Cherokee has more horsepower per pound than Blazer, and higher mileage than both. And only Cherokee has a choice of 2 or 4 doors and room for 5. Get triple award-winning Cherokee Performance or the luxury of the new Wagoneer, only in a Jeep.
Tomorrow, Johnny Carson hosts the 56th Annual Academy Awards live.
Jim Lampley in New York with Kelvin Bryant sidelined in street clothes. The Arizona Wranglers have gone on top of the Philadelphia Stars. 73-yard drive climaxed by this 1-yard run by Kevin Long. The big play, a Landry to Ricker pass, and disappointing Arizona for the moment leads Philadelphia 7-0. Now back to Tim Brandt.
Jim Lampley, 35 today. Still looks like he's 22, doesn't he?
On camera, he does. He looks about 22 or 23. Happy birthday, Poon.
3:17 remaining in the first quarter. First and 10 from the 48. Amos Lawrence is now the eye man and the eye back again. That's him, number 20. Famous Amos Lawrence out of North Carolina, Jim Lampley's alumni.
Way to go, Corral! Way to go! Way to go, Corral!
Jim Lampley's alma mater, I should say. He's not carried the ball that much for the Maulers yet this year. Coming into this game, Amos had 22 yards in 5 carries.
Some good talent along the offensive line for the Pittsburgh Maulers, but basically they are inexperienced. 2 rookies, 2 first-year players. Correal, the only one with any real experience, 3 years professional, 19 games.
2nd and 6 from the 44. Fake to Amos Lawrence. The pass to Anderson. They rule it a complete pass. Bruce Miller rides him out of bounds, and Miller doesn't like that call either. The rule states there that it's a judgment call. If the referee believes that the receiver could come down and make it in bounds before they hit, then he'll rule him in bounds, even if his feet never do touch and the defensive back rides him out.
So once again, it's a judgment call on the part of the designated official. Like pass interference.
Walter Holman, Amos Lawrence. Those are your split backs. Anderson and Flowers. This is Lawrence. Right side, 30. Close to a first down. Goes out of bounds over inside the 25-yard line. Good block. On the right side, Don Corbin chased him out.
That graphic illustrates what we talked about moments ago, the fact that famous Amos Lawrence is only one of 2 players in NCAA history to gain over 1,000 yards in 4 consecutive seasons. Tony Dorsett during his days at Pittsburgh.
We should mention the fact that Lawrence has not played that much yet this year because he was slow coming back from knee surgery he had in the offseason.
Good reminder.
Now.
That's right.
2nd and 2 from the 25. I formation. Play action. Carano. Now just dumps it across the middle to Lawrence. Incomplete. And Carano is shaken up a little bit. He's slow getting off the turf.
If the Mauler offense looks a little bit similar to the Philadelphia Stars offense, who we saw last week, it's because Joe Pendry was the offensive coordinator last year under Jim Mora for the same Philadelphia Stars. They like to establish the run. They like play action passes. You look at Carano's numbers right there. We talked to Pendry about Carano. He said the key is that he's getting to play now, and he's improving week by week because he is playing.
Mike Rozier comes back into the ball game. 2 tight ends, Al Kimichik and Mike Shaw. High formation on 3rd and 2. Rozier, right side, first down. Jeff Gaylord came up to make the stop. Well, let's see where they mark it. Maybe it's not quite a first down. Yes, sir, it is. First down, Pittsburgh.
So in a way, Glenn Carano is somewhat like Chuck Fusina at Philadelphia. Chuck Fusina, you remember, improved steadily throughout the 1983 season. I think he's even sharper now in 1984 because of the fact that he has had a full season of professional football under his belt.
You make an outstanding point. You have to play to build the confidence, and with the confidence comes your sharpness.
Absolutely.
So, Pittsburgh now inside the 25. 1st and 10. Rozier breaks a tackle. 15, 10. Down to the 9-yard line before Lindell Jones catches him. Good block by Don Corbin. They've been following Chuck Correal, Don Corbin, and Don Maggs on that right side of the offensive line.
Split backs here, and watch number 30, Mike Rozier, as he comes around on the sweep. Good blocking up in there. He breaks the tackle right there. And look at this. He is a north and south runner. A lot of people think of Mike Rozier as a juke stepper, as a Fancy Dan type runner. But, Tim, he's got a lot of power. And he accelerates. He knows where the end zone is.
This is Rozier. Not much there. Good defense. Jeff Gaylord, Mike Robinson, Ben Needham all come up along with Darrell Wilkerson. They run to the football. It's a good aggressive defense.
6 carries, 24 yards right now for Mike Rozier. We said at the top of the show that this man constitutes 1/3 of their total offense in terms of his all-purpose numbers. He leads the team in rushing, and he was tied for first in receiving coming into today's game with 19 catches.
Had his best game last week, 90 yards, 2,148 yards last season with Nebraska. Carano, fade pattern. Anderson overthrown. That's number 80, Greg Anderson. But it was good coverage by number 40, Bruce Miller.
Greg Anderson, the wide receiver on the left, going man-to-man with Bruce Miller, number 40, the cornerback. He is open momentarily by a step, but the ball is overthrown by Glenn Carano. The fade pattern that Tim Brandt just identified is the consummate touch and timing route because you have to throw the ball before the man is looking.
Outstanding coverage by Bruce Miller on that side. He's replacing Woodrow Wilson, who injured his knee. 3rd and 9. Toronto with time now in trouble. Across the middle, touchdown to Greg Anderson. Toronto had backside pressure, maintained his composure, stayed in the pocket, and drilled it across the middle to that man, number 80, Greg Anderson.
Greg Anderson all alone on the left side here. Let's take a look at the route that he runs. He comes down, makes a little move on Miller, number 40, and breaks it back inside to the post pattern. And he is all alone right there in the middle. He gets behind the linebacker, number 56. That's Marcus Merrick.
Tony Lee's extra point is up, and it's good. So, Pittsburgh comes roaring back with a touchdown of its own, and we've got a tie score with 21 seconds left in the first quarter.
With the new AT&T card, it's more than just what you can do, it's where you can do it.
When I'm at home, I use my AT&T card to charge calls to the office.
At my client's office, I use it because it gives me an itemized record of all my calls.
On the road, I use it because I never need coins. And when I'm in a hurry, I use it to make charge calls quickly. I can even use it to make calls with AT&T's new card caller phones. And from over 150 foreign countries.
The AT&T card. It's the anywhere there's a telephone card.
When you buy a new car, you want to keep it looking new. And that's easy with Armor All Protectant. A scientific formula that took a polymer chemist 10 years to develop. It helps keep rubber, vinyl, leather, and plastic looking new. So even though you can't keep your car from getting old, you can keep it from looking old. Armor All. It's science, but it works like magic.
Bowling's high rollers enjoy life in the fast lane as they continue to hit the mark on the Professional Bowlers Tour Saturday on ABC.
Both clubs are moving the football. Tie score 7-7. Tony Lee kicking off. The deep man is Tony Good. It'll be taken by one of the upbacks. Tries to find a funnel across the 20 to the 22-yard line. Goes Mark Shalene, or Garrett Chase, rather.
Good job.
Jim Bergamo right now is down on the sidelines. Jimmy?
All right, thank you very much, Tim. Glenn, tremendous poise under pressure. Did you know that the man was on you that closely?
Yeah, I felt him coming. That's why I got rid of the football, and I guess Greg made a good catch. I didn't see the ball when it got caught.
Was Greg the intended receiver?
I had 3 receivers on. Greg came as the 3rd receiver, and I picked him up.
Seems like you're going to the cornerbacks early. You want to exploit that weakness on the breaker.
Well, you know, they got so many guys inside, we go outside a little bit. They got so many guys dropping inside, I go outside.
Thank you very much, Glenn Corrado.
All right, you heard the gun. That's the end of the first quarter, and what a quarter it is. Tie score, 7-7, Pittsburgh, New Orleans.
Bronco 2 never made it. S10 Blazer 4x4 never made it. No four-wheeler ever made it. Until the new Jeep Cherokee Sport Wagon became the first to win all 3 4x4 of the Year awards. And Jeep Cherokee has more horsepower per pound than Blazer, and higher mileage than both. And only Cherokee has a choice of 2 or 4 doors and room for 5. Get triple award-winning Cherokee performance or the luxury of the new Wagoneer, only in a Jeep.
Ask Al Holbert, 1983 Camel GT champion, what it takes to win. And here's what he says.
It takes a lot of things. Skill, nerve, preparation, and the best performance products I can get my hands on.
That's why Al Holbert demands high-performance CRC chemicals.
CRC, the professional's choice. I wouldn't settle for less.
The complete line of performance chemicals from CRC. For cars like yours.
Tonight is the premiere of one of the new Texaco System 2000 stations, already in many cities. A bold new look with computerized pumps and more of them, so you can wait on yourself and get in and out faster. System 2000 so convenient, it's already the most popular station in Texaco history. Texaco System 2000, serving you through the year 2000 and beyond. regular or super unleaded?
To the millions who use paint remover on varnished furniture, I have some advice. Stop immediately.
But I've always used it. Use Formby's Furniture Refinisher. Some paint removers raise the grain and strip the wood's beauty, and it's hard work.
Formby's easily dissolves old varnish, lacquer, and shellac. No sanding, no scraping. With Formby's Furniture Refinisher, the wood's beauty actually reappears.
Homer Formby. No one knows wood as good.
Try my tung oil wood stains and finishes.
That New Orleans had lost its first game last weekend to Birmingham. The same thing happened last night to Michigan. Michigan lost 20-17 to Oklahoma. Here at the Superdome, just underway, second quarter, Tim Brantley, Gross Cup. First and 10, New Orleans from the 24. Johnny Walton under pressure across the middle, has a man. To the 42-yard line goes Charlie Smith. Dave Langlois comes up and makes the tackle, but Charlie Smith, the former Philadelphia Eagle,
Tim, we look at the first quarter numbers, and we've talked about what a great game we have going here at the Superdome. Look how close everything is. You look at all of those numbers, and what registers is closeness. Total yards 103-91, and time of possession, only 2 minutes separate the two teams there. Pittsburgh in a commanding role.
We just saw the quick release of Johnny Walton. That's why he does not get sacked that much. He had 135 straight passes without an interception until last week. Then Chuck Clanton of Birmingham picked off 3. This is Dupree. And Dupree goes down. Ernest Adams and Mike McKibben come across and take him down quickly.
The key to the last touchdown for the Pittsburgh Maulers was the poise of quarterback Glenn Carano, because look at the pressure coming from number 92, Mike Robinson, on his blind side. Now watch how he stands right in the pocket and delivers the ball right there as he's being hit. Greg Anderson over the middle, and number 56 linebacker Marcus Merrick fell down. That's why Anderson got so open.
Second and 12 from the 40 for New Orleans. Split backfield. And the pass is underthrown, incomplete, intended for Buford Jordan. Johnny Walton, what a story he is. 36 years old, served 3 years as a head coach at Elizabeth City State, where his record was 20-10-1. And look at his numbers.
As I said at the top of the show, Tim, he is literally a coach on the field, because he came out of retirement, gave up a secure head coaching job at his alma mater, Elizabeth City State College, where he himself rewrote the press guide as a record-setting quarterback, and came back to the United States Football League in 1983 as one of the top quarterbacks. They're going to the shotgun now.
Shotgun formation, 3rd and 12. Johnny Walton again under pressure. Fire complete to his tight end, Danny Ross. And Dan Ross is out to the 45-yard line, but it will not be enough for a first down.
Dan Ross, number 86, the tight end, who came over from the Cincinnati Bengals and has now emerged as the leading receiver on the team, running a sideline cut. And what Walton doesn't do here is throw to the man who has enough yardage to pick up the first down. That's uncharacteristic of Johnny Walton. Almost always he knows where that first down yard marker is.
All right, on to do the punting is Dario Casarina. Now watch the drop that he has. It is very unusual. He almost throws the ball, unlike any other punter that I've ever seen. The deep man is William Miller and Bill Yancey. Bill Yancey, number 21, will field it inside the 10. Good coverage by the special team. New Orleans people cover quickly. Eric Elliott came down and was there in a hurry to make the stop. Matter of fact, they got down there so fast that there's a flag.
Oh, your false start.
44-yard punt by Dario Casarino, and he'll have to do it all over again. He says sometimes the people in the stands wonder if he's going to completely whiff at the football the way he throws it out.
Illegal formation. Offense. Still 4th down.
Well, we thought it was a false start, but the call is illegal formation, so we're going to get to watch Dario Casarino, 6'7" punter. He is the tallest punter in the United States Football League, and as you pointed out, he has an unusual drop. He's trying to modify that drop, but it's still kind of unusual. Let's watch.
He also weighs 242 pounds, just throws it out there. Bill Yancey calls for a fair catch, then lets it go. And a bad decision on his part as it rolls inside the 10 to the 6th, and it continues to go down near the 5 before it is finally touched. Well, Jeff Gaylord just stood there and waited for it to stop. 7-7's our score. 12 minutes left in the half.
As a relief pitcher, everybody thought I had it easy. See Pat here? He'd pitch his heart out for 8 innings or so, and then
Sparky come in, toss 3 or 4 pitches, and walk away with a win.
But I had to
train just like the rest of us.
Yeah, well, I still like to keep in shape, and I drink
He drinks light beer from Miller.
See, light's
less filling,
and light really tastes great. Will you just let me finish?
Why? You never let me finish.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Let me finish that for you, Sparky.
I am convinced that we can build a personal computer that
Compact Computer was born in a coffee shop. 3 men with an idea for a personal computer that would simply work better.
It should run thousands of programs.
Be rugged, powerful as well as portable.
I got it.
Maybe even a hard disk. No, I've got an idea that just might let us do that.
The next year, Compaq became the most successful new company in the history of American business because they were right.
How about some coffee?
It simply works better. Compaq.
Knockout artist Mark Freeland and super heavyweight Tyrell Biggs defend their titles in the World Amateur Boxing Championship Challenge. Plus a dynamic pack-style speed skating competition on ABC's Wide World of Sports Saturday.
Jim Lampley again in New York. After a touchdown pass from Sipe to McConaughey had gotten the Generals on the board early, Memphis came back to tie it. Walter Lewis scrambled for what seemed like a full week before hitting Gyro Panoranda, one of the greatest football names of this or any other year, with the touchdown pass that has tied it at 7. Gyro Panoranda. You heard it right, Tim Brandt. 7-7 in New Jersey.
So Pittsburgh is backed up deep in its own territory. The ball near the 5-yard line. Jackie Flowers, Greg Anderson are the wideouts. The setbacks, Mike Rozier and Walter Holman. 1st and 10 from the 5.5. This is Rozier. The defense closes the door on Rozier very quickly. Rozier ranks 4th in the Eastern Conference in rushing behind Joe Cribbs, Kelvin Bryant, and Herschel Walker. That's one of Lee Grosskopf's relatives right there.
Is that what you mean when you say crocodile arms?
Absolutely.
For the receivers? That means that they're not getting their arms out there extended enough. Is that right?
That's a shaky-looking character. They have a lot of fun here in New Orleans. They have really adopted this club, the New Orleans Breakers, the club that came from Boston last year. Toronto drops Jackie Flowers. Good catch by Flowers. Flowers has now caught 14 passes for the Maulers, 4 for touchdowns.
Jackie Flowers running the sideline cut, which has become his favorite route. Look at the discipline here as he makes his cut, and that ball could not have been thrown with any better timing. The ball was actually in the air as he was still coming out of his move.
Jackie Flowers in 3 games, 14 catches, 10 have produced first downs, 4 touchdowns. 10:59 to play in the half. 1st and 10 from the 18. Toronto, long count, looks over the defense and gives it inside across the 25 to the 29-yard line to Amos Lawrence. Tim Smith in the secondary had to come up and make the tackle, or Lawrence could have been gone.
Tim Smith, of course, one of the substitutions in the secondary for the Breakers. He was a standout player at Oregon State. I covered him there, and in 1978, he was named most valuable player in a game I covered him in against the University of Washington.
You know, famous Amos Lawrence also played, as you mentioned, in that Super Bowl game, the one the 49ers won 26-21 over the Cincinnati Bengals. 1st and 10 from the 30. Toronto looks for his tight end. He has him. Into New Orleans territory. Rambles Mike Shaw. Shaw, the tight end out of Virginia Tech. He's replacing the injured Mark Rowell.
Glenn Carano continues with the hot hand that he has had in recent weeks. We mentioned he had his top game as a professional. Shaw getting behind the linebacker and in the seam of the zone coverage on a crossing route there. And that ball was thrown with perfect touch. As I mentioned earlier, Toronto, I think, Tim, is most effective on the intermediate pass routes.
First and 10 from the 44. Toronto now 9 of 12, 111 yards. That last pass for a 26-yard gain. He's going to throw again on first and 10. Drops it out to Walter Holman, who takes it down to the 29-yard line. And they say his knee touched around the 30. Walter Holman, 5'10", 208-pounder out of West Virginia State. He's replacing Joel Coles, who injured a hamstring in practice. Coles was having a great year. He's the former running back from Penn State whose playing time in college was limited because he played behind Kurt Warner. But has worked his way into the Maulers backfield with some solid blocking for Rozier. Well, we have an injury. That's Ray Phillips. And while there's time out on the field, why don't we take one as well with the score, Pittsburgh 7, New Orleans 7.
Come on in, take a seat. We're gonna tell you what the big boys eat. Name is Wheaties, kick a wheat. Now you know what the big boys eat. Hello, milk, come on in. Jump in, berry, have a swim. Wheaties, Wheaties, not too sweet. Now go tell your mama what the big boys eat.
Part of your good breakfast.
If you're a smoker, inside this little can is a legitimate alternative. This is Skoal Bandits, an individual portion of wintergreen flavored tobacco in a neat, pre-moistened pouch. What you do is put one between your lip and gum. What you get is great tobacco taste without lighting up, and you can enjoy it wherever you are. If you're a smoker, try Skoal Bandits. 20 pouches to a can. Take a pouch instead of a puff.
Knockout artist Mark Freeland and super heavyweight Tyrell Biggs defend their titles in the World Amateur Boxing Championship Challenge. Plus a dynamic pack-style speed skating competition on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Saturday.
Ray Phillips is apparently okay. Just took a pretty good lick to his head. He has come out of the ball game. Mike Brewington comes in and replaces him at linebacker. It is first and 10 from the 30 for Glenn Toronto. 9 minutes remain in the first half. Mike Rozier is set back along with Walter Holman. Flowers and Anderson. Your wideouts. Three-step drop. Quick pass. Greg Anderson. First down. He's close to it. Bruce Miller came up and made the stop. Right now, let's go to New York. Here's Jim Lampley.
Well, Tim, the Generals have retaliated for the Gyro Panorama touchdown, coming back on a sight to Clarence Collins' TD throw, 30 yards on the pass and run. New Jersey now back on top over Memphis, 14-7. It's up to Lewis and Panorama to answer that. Now back to Tim Brandt in New Orleans.
Okay, Lamps, thank you. Here we've got a pretty good ball game going. Pittsburgh driving again against New Orleans. It's tied 7-7. This is 2nd and 1. That's Rozier. Has the first down. Mike Rozier. Lawrence Williams comes up and made the tackle, but not before the big guy from Nebraska made the first.
That was a saving tackle because Rozier really spun out of there, and it looked like he was on his way, and Lawrence Williams, number 51, grabbed Rozier down by the ankles. I think Rozier is really improving here in recent weeks, and part of that is that he had to replay himself back into shape after the season he had with Nebraska.
First and 10 from the 16. You know, Rozier led Nebraska to a 12-0 regular season record last year. Keep in mind, certainly, not to take anything away from Miami's great performance in the Orange Bowl, but Rozier set out the entire fourth quarter of that 31-30 Orange Bowl loss after spraining his ankle.
Important point.
Keith Jackson, Lynn Swan doing that ball game out in Arizona. And the Wranglers lead the Stars 14-0. Kelvin Bryant not playing in that ball game, but the Wranglers just smothering the Stars. 2nd and 11 for the 17. Toronto. Mix-up. Anderson came inside. Toronto threw outside.
Total domination of the Philadelphia Stars by the Wranglers. They tell us that Philadelphia has only 7 total yards in the game thus far. And that is a complete reversal of what we saw last week. You and I covered the Philadelphia Stars against the Tampa Bay Bandits. And it was the reversal last week because Philadelphia really was in control of that game from the very first, actually from the first quarter.
Keep in mind, Kelvin Bryant accounts for more than a third of that offense. So if he's not playing, they lose a lot of power. It's 3rd and 11 for Toronto. New Orleans brings the blitz. Interception. That's Eric Johnson. Eric Johnson, number 37. He's out of Washington State, has been the nickelback, but he's substituting for Joe Restick, who is out with an injury. The pass was intended for Greg Anderson.
Greg Anderson trying to come over the middle. You see the double blitz right there, the pressure applied from the secondary, and there is number 37, Eric Johnson, stepping in front of Greg Anderson with a key interception for the Breakers.
Did it one-handed, stopped the drive, and the score remains the same, 7-7.
I crushed a lot of quarterbacks in my day, and I'm real sorry. So I wrote this letter. Dear quarterbacks, I apologize for the way I treated you. Please let me buy you a light beer from Miller. Light's my beer because it tastes great. I'm sure it's yours, too, because you little guys can't afford to get filled up. Hope to see you soon. Sincerely, L.C. Greenwood.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
I hear that L.C. Greenwood has invited quarterbacks to join him for a light beer from Miller. Well, here's my reply. Dear L.C., I accept your gracious offer. A quarterback is far too intelligent to turn down a light beer because it's less filling and it tastes great. Even you big, clumsy linemen know that. Hope to see you soon. Sincerely, Bert Jones. Come on, Bert!
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
How'd he do that?
From the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, we've got a good crowd, we've got a good ball game. New Orleans in blue with the football goes to an I formation. This is 1st and 10, the ball on the 8. Cooper Jordan is the setback, and he has the football. Let's go downstairs now to Jim Bergamo. He's with Eric Johnson, the man who made that interception.
All right, thank you very much, Jim. Eric, it was obvious you were in a blitz. What happened on the play?
Well, what it was a safety blitz right up the middle. We had man-to-man across the board. I had the inside receiver man-to-man. He ran a slant. Quarterback had to throw it quick, and I just made the interception.
Nice catch on your part.
All right, thank you.
All right, back up to you, Tim.
All right, so that's Eric Johnson, his first start as a professional with the New Orleans Breakers. This is 2nd and 9. Johnny Walton, deep drop, looks deep, throws, has a man. It's complete. Charlie Smith, now they say he's out of bounds. Well, Charlie Smith doesn't like that play.
Charlie Smith, number 85, is running a sideline cut, a deep sideline cut. Now remember, this is a 2-foot league, and 2 feet must be in bounds.
They were.
All right, let's look again. One.
Drag.
He tapped it. He tapped the right foot. That is a catch.
Bad call.
Bad call. Absolutely.
That brings up 3rd and 9 from the 9. Walton goes to the shotgun formation. Sends everybody wide. Tight end in motion. Give inside. Too much time. Flags fly. That's Tony Good, number 31, who was the ball carrier, but that's after the whistle. False start on Dan Hurley. Got some paper airplanes coming out of the stands at halftime. They're going to put 3 automobiles at midfield, and everybody has an opportunity to put their name on a piece of paper, make a paper airplane, and the closest one to the car wins it.
It's a great idea. That's one of the most creative promotions I've ever heard of. Of course, they give something away in the United States Football League every week.
3rd and 13. Johnny Walton going for the first. Well, they come right back with the same play to Charlie Smith. This time they call it good. Big play. John Walton to Charlie Smith.
I was going to say they better give him this one. They ran the same play, and watch Charlie Smith, how he drives. He pushes upfield, sells the play, comes back to the outside. Bill Yancey, who was a part-time player last year for the Oakland Invaders on the coverage, but he got fooled. Charlie Smith really sold the up route, turned back to the outside. That is a perfect comeback pattern. A great player out of Grambling, who broke the records previously set by the great Frank Lewis.
Charlie Smith and All-Pro Harold Carmichael made a fearsome duo for 7 seasons in Philadelphia. This is Marcus Dupree. Across the 30. We're down to 6 minutes in the first half.
Marcus Dupree just kind of lopes along. It looks like he really isn't running. I remember when I first saw him at the University of Oklahoma, covering him there as a freshman, I thought he was slow. I didn't think the guy was really putting out, but that's just his style.
And he's so big, 6'3", 238, runs a 4.35 40.
He reported at 248. He's shaved off 10 pounds. He's really starting to get into shape. At the rate he's improving, by late season, he could be awesome.
He has really become effective as a pass catcher out of the backfield, isolating on the linebackers. 2nd and 6. Pitch back to Dupree. Lopes along, looking for blocking. Now breaks 3 tackles. But Ernest Adams and Jeff Delaney take him down in a hurry as he crossed the 30. And they're saying there was a fumble on the play, but no indication from the officials. There was an altercation up near the 45-yard line between Lockett and Yancey, the defensive back. There is a flag there, and a penalty, and a personal foul. Well. Frank Lockett ended up without his helmet. He and Yancey were going face-to-face, nose-to-nose, throwing a few blows.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 21 defense. First down.
Number 21 defense, Bill Yancey out of Fresno State. Frank Lockett told us in practice Friday that there is not a human being on earth that can cover him one-on-one. Yancey's giving it a pretty good go. This is 1st and 10 from the 46. Johnny Walton now drops it off to a safety valve. Dangerous pass. Mark Shalene made the catch, but Mike McKibben, 53, was there, and had he been looking for the football, may have had a chance to knock it down.
Mark Shalene would have been better to purposely drop that one.
You're right. Big loss on the play. It'll bring up 2nd and 16. You're always a thinker, Cupper.
Mark Shalene out of the University of Nebraska, it was one of the strongest football players to ever graduate from the Cornhusker campus. Leg pressed over 1,000 pounds, bench pressed 475, strongest man on the Cornhusker squad last year, ran a 4.5 40-yard dash. He is faster in 40 yards than Mike Rozier.
On 2nd and 16, Johnny Walton loads, throws, and incomplete. That ball was intended for Marion Brown. The coverage was by Bill Yancey, number 21, and when you watch this replay, Cupper, that ball hit something because it bounces sky high.
Marion Brown, number 82, is running a fade pattern along the sideline, and he's trying to get into the deep outside seam of the zone coverage. The ball bounces off number 21, Billy Yancey's shoulder, and Dave Langlois, number 24, coming over, almost had a shot at it.
Johnny Walton really drilled that one. There are his numbers. 7 of 10, 93 yards. Faced with a big 3rd down here. 3rd down in a taxi ride. 16 yards to go for the 1st. Walton drills it across the middle. Should be a flag, but there is none. Well, I'll tell you what. It was intended for Marion Brown. Jeff Delaney, 41, I thought there got too early. But there was no flag, and as long as there's no flag, it's a good play.
Marion Brown, the wide receiver on the right, is running a down and in pattern. Jeff Delaney, number 41, on the coverage here. And watch that contact. That's premature. Why there's no flag, I don't know, Tim.
Dario Casarino is in to punt it away. Bill Yancey's the lone back now for Pittsburgh. High spiraling punt. Yancey calls fair catch. So, with the score still tied, we're down to 4 minutes and 11 seconds in the first half.
You'll find special offers and big savings at your hardware store or home center during the great spring hardware sale. So act now. Get a 5-month subscription to any of these helpful magazines free when you buy any Schlage keyed lock. Protect and enhance the natural beauty of wood with real wood, warranted for 4 years, now 50% off. Save on new Rinse and Back 5 cleaner. It defoams, deodorizes, cleans, and protects your carpets. Look for the savings in these magazines and at participating hardware stores and home centers during the great spring hardware sale.
The return of American business. It's coming back smarter, more competitive. AT&T can help your business with smarter techniques to manage information.
Your region looks promising.
Distribution.
We can ship it to you without a layover.
All by tailoring the AT&T long-distance network to work for you in ways you never thought of. AT&T Communications.
The billion-dollar business of state-run lotteries. Monday on ABC's World News Tonight.
This ball game's had a little bit of everything. Hard hits, 2 touchdowns, big plays. Fun football teams. I'll tell you what, Pittsburgh looks pretty good for an expansion club.
Some controversial calls, too.
3:55 remaining in the first half. 7-7, 1st and 10 Pittsburgh. That's Glenn Toronto. Play action. Under pressure. Throws deep. Intended for Greg Anderson. Another interception for New Orleans. That's Bruce Miller, number 40, who made the interception. And for a makeshift secondary, which is so plagued by injuries, New Orleans has really pulled together and is playing extremely well. Bruce Miller out of Southern Mississippi replaced Woodrow Wilson, who has an injured knee.
Good comeback here for the cornerback, number 40, Bruce Miller, rookie out of Southern Mississippi, as he's covering Greg Anderson along the sideline on a fly pattern. Earlier, he was beaten by Anderson. Right here, you can see he's step for step in perfect position. However, that ball was underthrown by about 3 to 5 yards. Had it been thrown further and over the outside shoulder.
That's a great point.
There was a possibility that Greg Anderson may have gotten a touchdown there. I mentioned earlier, Toronto most effective on the intermediate cuts.
Johnny Walton, the quarterback, now has 3 minutes and 25 seconds to work in the first half. From the 18-yard line. Jordan across the 20.
That's a play that is so effective for them. It's a variation of the draw play in which Jordan starts in motion, pulls up, and then they slip the ball to him. They used that on the opening series in the game against the Chicago Blitz, the game that was such a barn burner right here in the Superdome. And he was very effective on that play. I think that probably this team makes as good a use of the draw play, both for runs and passes, as any team I've seen.
Buford Jordan, quick, strong. He squats 490 pounds, bench presses 340 pounds, and cleans 275. And still run like a rabbit. 2nd and 5 from the 23. Drop pass over the middle. That's Jordan. First down, New Orleans. Flags fly. There is a penalty. And Jordan is hurt. Mike McKibben came up, made the tackle, and I think he also grabbed the face mask. Who is the first man to the injured player? Head coach Dick Corey. When you talk about Dick Corey, last year's Coach of the Year, and part of his success is getting so much out of an ordinary talent is the fact that he's so emotional and shows genuine warmth toward his players.
Now keep your eye on number 24, Buford Jordan. He's on the left, circling out of the backfield. And linebacker Mike McKibben, number 53, comes up right there. Now watch, he twists the helmet around. He gets the face mask and then twists it. That hurt.
First down.
Did you see that?
I saw it. I didn't like it.
You would have never done anything like that when you were playing linebacker for Maryland, would you? Roverback.
I could have been the most penalized man in ACC history.
I heard that about you.
First and 10 from the 39-yard line. Buford Jordan is okay. Anthony Steele, Marcus Dupree, the split backs. Now they take their tight end, flex him, give inside. Mike McKibben stops Marcus Dupree right now. Let's go downstairs to Jim Bergamo.
All right, thank you, Tim. With me, Bruce Miller, who made the interception. Bruce, was it more of a bad pass by Carano, or was it good position on your part?
Well, I saw the ball hanging. I couldn't really see what the receiver was, but I thought I was in pretty good position there.
You think they're starting to work on you guys some more? Or are you getting some respect?
Well, at first they were nickel and dime. If they was hitting us for 10, maybe 5 yards at a time, but we got to start over playing there and just start respecting the deep ball like I did a while ago. I was assuming they was going deep about 4 minutes ago and a half, so I just played deep.
All right, good luck to you, Bruce.
All right, man.
Well, Pittsburgh is nickel and dimed up for 7 points, and that's all New Orleans has been able to put on the board. We've got 2-minute warning here, the first half from the Superdome.
People think I always take the train because I'm afraid of flying. Me, afraid? Nah. I take the train because it's the best way to enjoy light beer from Miller. Rolling through the Rockies and all across the Midwest, nice, less filling. And it tastes great coast to coast. That's why I take the train, not because I'm scared of anything. Hey, what happened to the
Light
light?
beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Hey, what? Maybe I am a little afraid of the dark.
Well, Johnny Walton has now conferred with Dick Corey, the head coach of New Orleans. They've talked over their strategy. And one of the best 2-minute quarterbacks in professional football is Johnny Walton.
Basically, their entire offense is like a hurry-up offense, Tim.
He mixes his plays so well, draws and screens, gets to the 2-minute warning, uses the sidelines efficiently, effectively. 2nd and 5 from the 44. Quick opener, Mark Shalane in the Pittsburgh territory before Jerry Holmes can stop him.
Mark Shalane, who we were just talking about, a remarkable athlete out of Nebraska. He played 8-man football when he was in high school. The name of that high school was Waterloo.
He was a walk-on at Nebraska.
Yep.
Came on without a scholarship. Then he set a record. He became the all-time rushing fullback at Nebraska, 9 touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns this year against Jacksonville for New Orleans.
And I want to tell you personally, Tim, that I think he is one of the best lead blockers that I have ever seen. I have seen him literally blow people off the line of scrimmage 5 yards or more.
Coming up next Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports Amateur Boxing Championship, it's the challenge from Los Angeles, California. America's 2 top boxing gold medal hopefuls, defending champions Mark Breland and Tyrell Biggs. They head to the United States team preparing for the Summer Olympic Games in Los Angeles. Also have the World Short Track Speed Skating Championships. That's from England. Jack Whitaker is over there.
You're not going to try to pronounce those names, I take it.
Go ahead and give it a shot. They've got some great ones over there. A lot of talent. You know, of course, the defending champion, Sylvie Degla. World Speed Skating Championships in boxing on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Shotgun formation here at the Superdome. Johnny Walton has 1:55 to work. He's got the ball on the 46. The give inside. Tony Good drops the football, picks it up. Pittsburgh is Jeff Delaney.
That's a big play. That's a big play. That's a big play on it.
A shotgun draw, and Jeff Delaney came up and just took the ball off the turf after Tony Good had dropped it. So turnovers have hurt both clubs.
Just as Tim Brandt told you, this is a shotgun draw. I was mentioning how they use the draw play in so many situations. Watch. The ball stripped right there by number 97, David Graham. And along comes number 41, Jeff Delaney, to pick it up. And very opportune field position now, once again, for the Pittsburgh Maulers.
And now it's Carano, who has 1:47 to work in the first half. First and 10 from the 40. Tie ball game, 7-7. Tim Brandt, Lee Grosscup with you. Carano drops, throws, has a man. It is complete to Flowers. Jackie Flowers out of Florida State.
Jackie Flowers, who we've been talking about since the top of our show, has made a big difference for them in the last 2 weeks. And watch once again as he runs his favorite route on the right side. He is so disciplined with his pass cuts, and Carano is perfect once again with his timing on the sideline cut. As you see him catching the ball there, these two were in camp together with the Dallas Cowboys in 1980.
Jackie Flowers has catches in each of his 3 games, the last 3 games here with Pittsburgh. Not much running room on the left side. Pittsburgh will now have to go back to the drawing boards. Walter Holman was the ball carrier, and the clock is down to 1:20. So Carano will now take timeout and talk things over with his head coach, Joe Pendry. They'll try to devise a scheme to get on the board before half.
Today, the most exciting new ideas in the hotel business come from Holiday Inn.
Now Holiday Inn is a better place to be.
Now this is better.
Much better.
Looks much better.
Far better.
At Holiday Inn Hotels, our satellite Earth Station network beams hit movies right to your room at no extra charge. Innovations like this make us #1.
We're #1, your worldwide host. First with what you want the most.
Call 800-HOLIDAY.
Holiday Inn is a better place to be.
It's the dawn of a new era in microcomputer technology. The Tandy TRS-80 Model 2000 personal computer from Radio Shack, designed to meet your personal computing needs. It's faster, with higher resolution, more storage, and greater expandability than IBM's PC. Its ultra-high performance gives you the leading edge of Radio Shack's computer technology. The Tandy TRS-80 Model 2000 personal computer, the dawn of a new era in personal computing.
1984 is an Olympic year, not only for able-bodied athletes, but for disabled athletes as well. This is the first time the International Games for the Disabled will be held in the United States. They'll feature world-class competitors in more than 20 Olympic-style events. I support these brave athletes, but they need your support as well. To find out how you can help, write to International Games for the Disabled, Eisenhower Park, East Meadow, New York, 11554.
Flowers comes to the bottom of the screen. Greg Anderson to the top. The Maulers starting receivers were both picked up in a trade engineered by the Maulers GM, George Heddleson. This is 2nd and 12 from the 30. Mike Shaw is ridden out of bounds by Eric Johnson. Picks up a couple. Ever so close to the 1-minute mark now. As you look at the two coaches, Dick Torrey, Joe Pendry.
Joe Pendry, the youngest head coach in professional football, working for an outstanding Pittsburgh management.
36 years old, trying to transform a team that did not even exist a year ago.
Edward DeBartolo, Paul Martha, George Heddleson, key people in the front office of the Pittsburgh Maulers, who've assembled this fine organization. Dick Torrey, you mentioned earlier, the coach of the year in the USFL in 1983.
I mentioned that he coached high school in California. His record there was 96-9-3.
Joe Pendry, who you see there, a graduate of West Virginia, had his career as a player shortened by a spinal contusion. That turned out to be a blessing in disguise because he went on to be an assistant coach while he was still in college, and then worked under some outstanding coaches at the college level. Last year got his chance in pro football.
Don't forget, next Sunday, USFL action continues here on ABC. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Birmingham and Michigan will be one. The other will be announced early next week. Or early this week, rather. Third and 7. The ball on the 25. The time, 1 minute, 2 seconds. Carano splits everybody out. Drops a little pass to Rozier. Rozier stumbles and falls and goes down at the 30. Didn't pick up any yardage. That's that little pass that you referred to so eloquently as the little dink pass.
The dink and dunk routes, all of the underneath patterns, and that's really like a long handoff in a possession passing game.
Tony Lee, his longest, is a 42-yarder. This one will be woefully short. 47-yard attempt. It would have been his longest ever. He couldn't do it. So, after an opportunity, Pittsburgh comes away with no points.
This has been an outstanding first half of play here in the Superdome, Tim. You know, we've had some games that have been a little bit lackluster earlier in this season, but this has really been a terrific first half. Good work by both quarterbacks, especially Glenn Perano, 14 of 21 now in the passing department, 152 yards, 1 touchdown. Those numbers, however, have been marred by 2 interceptions. Jackie Flowers having his best game so far. He's got 5 catches already for 57 yards.
You know, you mentioned it's been an outstanding football game, but despite those turnovers, they were not bad plays. They were great defensive plays on the interception, and even on the fumble, it was a pretty good hit. 23 seconds to work. Johnny Walton goes deep, has a man at Smith, and it's out of bounds. Charlie Smith was the intended receiver. Jeff Delaney, number 41, was with him. I think Smith was open momentarily, but Walton threw it out of bounds.
Johnny Walton a little bit late with the ball that time as he was trying that deep comeback route to Charlie Smith that has been so effective for them. Charlie Smith, I mentioned earlier, a great one out of Grambling. Broke some of the records that were previously held by Frank Lewis. Then went on to compose an outstanding tandem with the Philadelphia Eagles with a player you mentioned earlier, Harold Carmichael.
2nd and 10 from the 30. 17 seconds remaining. Walton this time throws for Lockett. And again it's thrown out of bounds. And Lockett is upset. He wants a hit and a penalty thrown on Dave Langlois for hitting him out of bounds.
I don't think it was a late hit. I think it was justifiable contact because there was still a chance that he might get the football.
Well, I think Lockett's complaining because he was out of bounds.
Frank Lockett, number 80. Now watch, he's getting a little push right there. Jerry Holmes, number 47 there. Now watch Langlois. Well, I think you've got a point there. He is out of bounds. But Langlois probably didn't see that, so he was up there making the contact because he thought that Lockett might get the football.
Did you see what Lockett did, though? Once he saw the ball was out of bounds and he didn't have a shot at the catch, then he started looking for the defensive back coming up and tried to protect himself.
What do you call that? Let him know you're in the neighborhood?
Sure. Anytime you can get a pretty good lick on a ball player, you try to do it so that he's got his head on a swivel looking for you instead of the ball. Stay tuned next for ABC's World News Tonight. Sunday, Sam Donaldson will have a report on the mission to repair a satellite in space. Also, Dick Schaff will have a report on the efforts to save women's intercollegiate sports. That's all coming up on ABC's World News Tonight, Sunday. Stay tuned. Well, what can you do in 13 seconds? We've seen some crazy things happen with this New Orleans team. Last year when they were in Boston, we saw Johnny Walton throw a pass that bounced off Charlie Smith in the end zone to Lockett for the touchdown. But it won't happen this time because the man who doesn't get sacked that often goes down in the grasp of Doug Holly, number 99. He was only sacked 6 times last year with Johnny Walton because of his quick release, but he goes down this time. That's the 2nd sack of the year on Walton.
Breaker quarterbacks all told were sacked only 8 times in 1983. Contrast that with the Oakland Invaders, where Fred Bassana was sacked 71 times at the other end of the spectrum.
Well, you heard the gun. That's the end of the first half with our score. Breakers 7, the Maulers 7. We'll be back with today's halftime activities after this message and a word from our local stations.
Make it brand new, Napa. Make it Napa brand new.
It's like turning back the miles on your car when you use quality Napa brand parts.
So whether you do it yourself or have it done for you, make it Napa brand new. Right now, during Napa Car Care Days with quality Napa Auto Parts. It's almost like turning your car back to when it was new. Look for the Napa Car Care Days banner and...
Make it brand new, Napa. Make it Napa. Brand new.
Ready as I'll ever be.
Tonight is kind of special.
Whoa! Last one down by the lower brow.
Beer will pour. Must say something more somehow.
So tell me, were you scared?
No. Tonight.
Me too. Someday, an all-new special catches you in the act. Can we trick you into taking it all off? Or joyriding with a bear? Chances are, people do the craziest things. Then, one man controls them, every man wants them, and someone wants them dead. The Calendar Girl Murders.
Tonight on ABC.
Out here, a thunderstorm rolls in fast. Sometimes too fast. And when they're taken care of, it's your turn. Bush. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream. For a taste as smooth as its name. Bush. Head for Bush beer. Head for the mountains.
The Maulers are here. Sunday, the Maulers play Denver, and fans 12 and under get a T-shirt from Burger King. The Maulers are here.
Stan Savran and Weekend Sports on Action News.
We welcome those of you who are at halftime of the tied-up ball game between Pittsburgh and New Orleans. We'll bring you up to date now on what is happening elsewhere in the United States Football League. Out in Tempe, Arizona, with Kelvin Bryant sidelined by injury, the pressure is on the rest of the Philadelphia offense, and in the first half, the Stars have not been able to produce as Arizona is firmly in control of the ball game. The Wranglers scored early on a one-yard run by Kevin Long, capping a 73-yard drive, keyed by a long pass from Landry to tight end Paul Ricker. Landry's having a hot first half. Later, he got a 10-yard touchdown pass to Trumaine Johnson to make it 14-0 Arizona. The Philadelphia cornerbacks, who play on artificial turf, having trouble on the wet, natural turf in Tempe. But later, Philadelphia got a touchdown as David Riley went in from 5 yards out after a holding call against cornerback Lupe Sanchez of Arizona. Dave Trout missed the extra point. That made it 14-6. Then Tim Spencer scored just seconds before halftime after a drive keyed by Spencer's running. And Arizona has a 21-6 lead at halftime over the Philly Stars, who are 5-1 and tied for the lead in the Atlantic Division with New Jersey. Now, New Jersey can move on top in the division if the Generals can defeat the Memphis Showboats today in the Meadowlands, and they are well on the way toward doing that right now. In the first quarter, the Generals got on the board first on this 9-yard touchdown pass from Brian Sipe to Tom McConaughey, set up by a fumbled punt. 45-yard drive. But then Memphis came back to tie it. Watch the terrific scrambling by Walter Lewis, the former Alabama quarterback, who found Jairo Penaranda in the corner of the end zone with the touchdown pass that tied it up at 7-7. That was Penaranda right on the back line. Then, in the second quarter, the Generals came back to take the lead again. However, this touchdown pass from Sipe to Clarence Collins right down the middle followed the Penaranda touchdown and put New Jersey back on top in the ball game 14-7. In the first half, Sipe was 6 of 7 for 86 yards and 2 TDs. Now in the third quarter, the Generals have extended the lead. Sipe hitting Jeff Speck With this deflected touchdown pass, Speck went on in from 60 yards out to make it 21-7 New Jersey with 11 minutes and 35 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The Generals, after having some trouble with Memphis in the first half, seemingly in control of that ball game. When we come back, a story on the unorthodox coaching methods and so far the highly effective ones of the new coach of the Denver Gold, Craig Morton. We'll be back.
To the millions who use paint remover on varnished furniture, I have some advice. Stop immediately.
But I've always used it. Use Formby's furniture refinisher. Some paint removers raise the grain and strip the wood's beauty, and it's hard work.
Formby's easily dissolves old varnish, lacquer, and shellac. No sanding, no scraping.
With Formby's furniture refinisher, the wood's beauty actually reappears.
Homer Formby. No one knows wood as good.
Get started now with a $1.50 rebate on specially marked Formby kits.
Hey, chicken's here. Oh, you went there.
Don't we deserve something better?
Yeah, you do.
You've got a right.
I've got a right.
The chicken done right.
The taste success with just one bite. It's the one and only Kentucky Fried Chicken. We got a right to chicken done right.
Nobody does chicken like we do with the Colonel's secret blend of 11 herbs and spices.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, they do chicken right.
Tomorrow's a night of stars. First, Barbara Walters visits with 3 of America's most talked about women: Jane Fonda, Christy Brinkley, and Joan Collins.
I basically like men.
And the stars continue to shine for Oscar as Hollywood comes alive with all its dreams, passions, and triumphs. The 56th Annual Academy Awards live, hosted by Johnny Carson. Tomorrow's a night of stars. The Barbara Walters special, followed by the 56th Annual Academy Awards, all starting at 8, 7 Central.
A year ago, the Denver Gold were a part of the USFL's middle class. Nameless, faceless, their only celebrity former Bronco coach Red Miller, who was fired midway through a 7-11 season. Ironically, Miller's successor was his former Bronco quarterback, Craig Morton, who began the steps which led to this year's complete turnaround. Craig Morton never expected to become a head coach. He admits he would never have paid the dues most men pay through years of assistant coaching.
I was excited when this opportunity came up that they did offer me the job. It was something that I really jumped on, and I wanted to see what I could do about it, because spending all that time with different coaches, and they taught me a lot of football, but they also taught me a lot of things about the way I did not want to treat people. And so to be able to do it my way, I wanted to take the chance and try to do it.
What was it about the standard organizational style of football coaches that didn't appeal to you?
I just never thought that that all the meetings and all the idle time that coaches demand players to spend around the complex just because their mind had to be fixed on football the whole day. I hated that so severely. They'd have to go at 8:30 every morning, not get home till 6 or 7 at night, and only maybe be productive 4 hours of the day. It just seemed to be ridiculous to make people do that.
A visit with the Gold proves Morton practices what he preaches. Workouts are brief. The head coach observes from the sidelines while his assistants control the work. In fact, the players spend almost as much time relaxing with each other as in chalk talk or pads. The weekly Thursday afternoon picnic, one of several vehicles for bringing the team together. And when the Gold suffered its only 1984 loss to Michigan, Morton took advantage of the opportunity to remind all those around him of the relative unimportance of football.
I just had enough. I said, hey, listen, nobody died in my family. You know, I didn't see any serious accidents. Somebody reported to me that somebody in my family or one of my friends are hurt. It's just a football game. Now you got to, and that's how it's just a football game. People put so much importance because it's football that it's almost like God. And if you don't work 40 hours a day, if that's possible, but some guys do work 40 hours in a 24-hour period, that you're wrong, and that it's more than what I believe it is. It's just still a game. And when you lose perspective of that and it becomes more important in life, then I think you've really lost what the whole game's about.
But keeping the game in perspective does not rule out the free and uninhibited expression of emotion. Morton sees football as a demonstrative, emotional game, and the USFL as a fresh alternative to the NFL world he left behind.
I think the NFL as a whole, of course, would like to see us go away, and It's very interesting to some of the things that they do to within their own organizations to maybe ignore us, like no more high fives and no more fun bunches and all that. I mean, what a ridiculous thing to have to do to football, that you have to make rules to govern how men act on a football field. If they can't get excited about doing something, then why even play the game? Because you have to have some emotional relief. Whether you do something bad or good, it's got to be something. But to spend your actual days working out ways where you can eliminate the excitement of the game is just ridiculous. And I think that it's important that they know we're around. And I'm not going to say, I think that we're strong enough that we're going to remain.
It's a sign of strength when a man bucks the conformist world of coaching to bring his 4-year-old son to the sidelines. Is there another pro football team whose atmosphere matches this one? Center Tom Davis says there's just one.
Oh, that's real easy. The Oakland Raiders, or they used to be Oakland Raiders. When I was drafted by them in 1978, and that was exactly the same organization they had. It was more of a concept of winning on the field and less contact with you off the field. Your private life is your private life, which is kind of the way Craig runs it, things.
Tomorrow night, Morton and the Gold will be hosting Steve Young's L.A. Express. On paper, the Express have more talent, more identity, but that is nothing new to the Gold, who will be trying to preserve a 2-game lead in the Pacific Division.
And what a job Craig Morton has done. They are 5-1 in the Pacific Division. They play L.A. Monday night. We're at the Superdome in New Orleans. Our score, Pittsburgh 7, New Orleans 7. I'm Tim Brand along with Lee Grosscup, and we've had a pretty good half here, Cupper.
This is one of the best first halves that you and I have covered this season. In every sense of the word, it has been close.
Okay, they have had a couple of turnovers, 2 interceptions, and 1 fumble recovery, but they've been good plays. Let's take a look at the highlights of the first half. We'll start with Marcus Dupree.
The key to this touchdown by number 22, Marcus Dupree, the tailback, is the lead block right there by Mark Chalene, number 25, on Jeff Delaney, the strong safety man. That brings Marcus Dupree to the outside, and onto the end zone he goes.
And it was set up by a big pass play to Buford Jordan.
Absolutely.
And now we go. This is Glenn Carano of Pittsburgh. Watch as he drops and looks for a receiver. This is the touchdown that Pittsburgh scored.
And look how he stays in the pocket there despite the pressure on his outside. Marcus Merrick, number 56, falls down, and that makes Greg Anderson, number 80, open in the middle right underneath the goalpost.
Now, we talked about the turnovers. We said they were big plays. You can see the blitz here coming on both sides. Carano throws a pass that looks like it's on the mark, but it is a great interception.
It's intercepted right there in the secondary.
That's
by number 37, Eric Johnson, the strong safety. And I think what really set it up there was, as you mentioned, the safety blitz by Tim Smith.
So, we are at halftime with our score 7-7, and we'll be back for the second half right after these messages.
The United States Football League is an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Today's game is being sponsored by Miller High Life, the best beer for the best time of the day. Welcome to Miller Time. And by Ford and your local Ford dealer, who invites you to see the 1984 Ford cars and trucks. Have you driven a Ford lately? We'll return with more halftime activities after this commercial message and a word from our local station.
I'm a chauffeur. It's up to me to take care of the cars I drive. Armor All Protectant, my secret. I use it on the tires, the vinyl top, and inside on the dashboard and the seats. It helps keep things like new, even on this old classic. I do hope the master never sells her. They just don't make cars like they used to. Armor All. It's science, but it works like magic.
The trouble with most reports is they look like all other reports. Boring. Now you can copy reports that stand out with a Canon NP270F. It makes up to 27 copies a minute in black, brown, or blue. Will enlarge or reduce your ideas. Can automatically feed and collate. So if you want to avoid this, get yourself a very colorful, very affordable Canon 270F. For information, call toll-free.
Tuesday.
You wear a dress?
Foul-ups from Smokey and the Bandit. Bleeps from Jaws. And blunders from T.J. Hooker. Then, a biting issue. Man versus woman on A.K.A. Pablo.
Tuesday.
Awesome, powerful responsibility in the world
lies in the hand that picks up this phone. The idea of an unsure, unsteady, untested hand is something to really think about. This is the issue of our times. On April 10th, vote as if the future of the world is at stake. Mondale. This president will know what he's doing, and that's the difference between Gary Hart and Walter Mondale.
This is the moment when you need the quick response and smooth acceleration that comes from Exxon unleaded regular gasoline. It has higher octane than most other unleaded regulars to help free your engine from knocking and pinging. And for even more octane, try Exxon Extra Unleaded. When the moment demands performance, get Exxon. Quality you can count on.
Nanette Chapman and Donardo Weather tonight.
Pittsburgh 7, New Orleans 7. We're about to start the second half from the Superdome in New Orleans. And a couple of things that we ought to mention as you look at the first half stats. After catching 9 passes against Jacksonville for a record 225 yards, Frank Lockett has only 1 catch in the last 3 halves.
I think that's revealing, as are these numbers. We talked about how the game has been close in every sense of the word, Tim. And I think those numbers really reflect that right there. You see just about everything is pretty close. Now, it's interesting to note, though, that Pittsburgh, a 10-point underdog in this game, is ahead 194 to 153 in total yards.
You know, while we were away at halftime, we had one of the most spectacular promotions I've ever seen. 3 automobiles at midfield, and the fans were asked to throw paper airplanes. The airplanes were on their seats as they arrived at the Superdome today. They filled out their names, and the closest one to the cars wins the automobile. So 3 people here in this crowd at the Superdome now own the 3 cars that were on the field at halftime. And you can see the closest one right there at midfield to that automobile.
You know, Tim, I think
that belonged to Lee Gross Cup. You wish.
I do wish, yeah. I think that's one of the most creative promotions that I have ever seen. And what's really amazing is all that's cleaned up now by a group of good scouts.
Boy Scouts. Tony Lee will kick off, and deep for New Orleans is Tony Good. It'll be Tony Good at the 3. It's a left return, picks up some blockers, has a hole, breaks a tackle to the 30, the 40, out to the 43-yard line before he's ridden out of bounds by Johnny Durden. So New Orleans comes out smoking, and this is what we'll see offensively. The quarterback, Johnny Walton. The running backs, Buford Jordan and Mark Chalene. Frank Lockett and Charlie Smith, the wide receivers. The tight end is Dan Ross from the Cincinnati Bengals. Then comes Poulard, Raymond, McLaughlin, Horton, and Hurley. A 41-yard return by Tony Good. He was just activated. He's out of Southern, 5'10", 198-pounder, and he can fly. So it's 1st and 10 from the 43, just underway in the second half. Charlie Smith in motion. Walton, play action, goes to the right, has the receiver. It is complete. That's Frank Lockett. Now, we just talked about his lack of production in the last 3 halves. Good route. That time he makes the catch. The defense that they are running against is a 4-3. Sam Clancy, David Graham, Troy Thomas, Doug Holly. They have mixed it up. They have blitzed a little bit. Ron Crosby, Ernest Adams, Mike McKibben, the linebackers. Bill Yancey, Jerry Holmes, Jeff Delaney, and Dave Langlois. Frank Lockett. Now he has 2 catches in the last 3 halves. Outstanding receiver. 9 catches. A record against Jacksonville. In the number of yards for 225 yards in that game. This is 1st and 10 from the 46. Not much on the right side for Buford Jordan. Ernest Adams, you can hear him yelling down on the sidelines. Punish him in there. It's been that kind of ball game.
We talked about this earlier. Pittsburgh is a very physical team, Tim, both offensively and defensively. Joe Pendry, we talked to him before the game. He prides himself on that. He prides his team on that. There he is, the youngest coach in professional football, a graduate of West Virginia, has worked under some very outstanding coaches.
You're absolutely right about this club. The offensive line has improved, the special teams have played well, and the defense is aggressive. From the 46, Walton, long count. On 2nd and 10, he's going to throw. Nearly intercepted, but it is complete. First down, New Orleans. Charlie Smith made an outstanding catch.
As we look at it from the vantage point of the secondary, you can see how loose the coverage is. They primarily have a zone look, and Charlie Smith, number 85, gets into one of the outside seams of the zone coverage, just outside of linebacker Rob Crosby, number 54, one of the good ones for them. He, a former Jet.
Charlie Smith, formerly of the Philadelphia Eagles. Lone setback now from the 34, deep in Pittsburgh territory. This is Mark Shaleen, left side, bangs his way out for a couple of tough yards. Mike McKibben, the linebacker, Troy Thomas, and Doug Holly surrounded him there and take him down. Mike McKibben, Kent State, 10 solo tackles versus Washington.
MAC conference. They will hit you in that conference.
Very consistent player, played with the Jets in the National Football League. Received here in the expansion draft from New Jersey. Nickel back now situation. Larry Friday comes in for Pittsburgh on 2nd and 7. Johnny Walton. Flags fly, interference. It's called on Jeff Delaney, 41. He was all over Charlie Smith. The referee and the back judge missed the call in the first half that should have been interference. They're on top of this one.
Charlie Smith, number 85, lines up in the slot this time. He's running a curl-in route. Jeff Delaney, number 41, is literally all over him. He's all over him too much. He's all over him too soon.
Pass interference. Number 21 defense. First down.
Charlie Smith, of course, Tim, one of many great receivers out of Grambling. They have a receiver tradition at Grambling. The latest and perhaps the greatest, of course, Trumaine Johnson with Arizona.
Jerry Holmes, number 47 for Pittsburgh, comes to the bottom of your screen. He's man-to-man on Marion Brown. Everybody else is zone. 1st and 10. Walton throws, has a man, incomplete. David Bale was open, his tight end. Jeff Delaney was beaten, and the ball was overthrown.
Had this ball been thrown with a softer and more looping trajectory, I think he would have had a touchdown here. Let's watch. David Bale, number 87, is running a corner route toward the end zone. See that? Had he looped that ball a little bit more, thrown it a little bit softer, he had Jeff Delaney, number 41, beaten by about a step and a half.
Johnny Walton now 10 for 17, 127 yards. Charlie Smith flexes out. Now Bale goes back to tight end. He's at little flex. Smith in motion. This is 2nd and 10 from the 16 for Walton. Knocked down. Big play by Sam Clancy, the defensive end. He's 6'7", 260 pounds, and tough to throw over. He's out of Pittsburgh.
He's quite a story, too, because he was a basketball player for 4 years at Pittsburgh. He played both football and basketball in high school, but for 4 years he played no football at Pittsburgh. He was a dominating basketball player at Pittsburgh, and right now he leads the team in both tackles with 43 and sacks with 4. He's 6'7", 260. He's a horse.
Sam Clancy led Pitt in career rebounds. It was Jackie Sherrill who alerted Seattle that he could play football. 3rd and 10 from the 16 for Walton. The fake to Shaleen. Double pump, reload, and throws it out of bounds. Does Walton. He was intended for Charlie Smith.
I think it was the Dallas Cowboys who first looked into the possibility of recruiting basketball players for football. I remember they signed Cornell Green out of Utah State.
Tim Mazzetti, number 5, comes on to attempt the field goal. He is 7 of 8 this year. His longest, 40 yards. This will be a 33-yarder. It's long enough, and it's good. So Tim Mazzetti gives the New Orleans Breakers the lead with 12:09 remaining in the third quarter. There's your score, 10-7 Breakers.
Discover a space vehicle unlike any you've ever seen before.
Chevrolet taking charge.
With an advanced new form of Earth travel, Chevrolet Celebrity Wagon. Never before has a front drive wagon touched down with this much inner space, enough for up to 8 people. Celebrity. No other front drive wagon gives you more space at a price this low.
Chevrolet.
And you.
Taking charge.
So this is the new log cabin.
Thanks for giving me a hand.
Hey, what are friends for?
Here's to good friends. Tonight's kind of special.
Try it this way.
The beer we'll pour says something more somehow.
Looks like we're about done, huh?
Not yet, you're not.
Tonight.
Not a bad day's work.
Next weekend, we put in the pool.
Let it be low and brown.
Knockout artist Mark Freeland and super heavyweight Tyrell Biggs defend their titles in the World Amateur Boxing Championship Challenge. Plus a dynamic pack-style speed skating competition on ABC's Wide World of Sports Saturday.
8 plays, 41 yards. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. It took New Orleans after intermission to get on the board. That's the guy right there who put him there, Tim Mazzetti. So, Mazzetti is kicking off. William Miller is the deep man for Pittsburgh. It'll be Amos Lawrence who gets it at the 1. Looks for a hole. Can't find one, and he's nailed on the 17-yard line.
Tim, let's study the form of Tim Mazzetti, and you can see why he was the most consistent kicker in the USFL in 1983 and why he has continued that way in 1984. 79 of 111 career field goals, over 75%. He has not missed an extra point in this league.
He had a string of 10 straight field goals before missing a 47-yarder last week. He sat out the 1981-82 seasons after being cut from the Falcons. An illegal block by Pittsburgh moves them back inside the 10 to the 9-yard line.
He was a kicking hero for the Falcons on Monday Night Football, circa the late 70s.
That's Glenn Carano. The crowd of nearly 50,000 comes now to its feet. 1st and 10 from the 9. Play action. Carano with time. Drops it over the middle of the Rozier. Rozier out to the 15-yard line. Let's go downstairs now to Jim Bergamo, who's with Timmy Mazzetti. Obviously, there was a problem there, a technical problem with the microphone. We'll try to get back to Jimmy a little bit later. It is 2nd and 4 from the 15. New Orleans fakes blitz, now drops back into his own defense. This is Carano. Carano looking for help, under pressure. Now he unloads it, and it's caught. A great catch by Greg Anderson, number 80. Well,
and a great job by the quarterback there because he was under a lot of pressure.
Jeff Gaylord was the man who applied the pressure. He was really coming hard. Carano hung tough, maintained his composure, and threw to Anderson, who made a spectacular catch. Let's set that offensive line up for you. Glenn Carano's your quarterback. Rozier and Walter Holman your running backs. Jackie Flowers, Greg Anderson are your wideouts. The tight end is Mike Shaw, Maggs, Corbin, Boreal, and Lukens and Dubiago. Your offensive line. It is 1st and 10 from the 22. Rozier bangs his way across the 25 to the 26 before Darrell Wilkinson meets him. Big number 75, Darrell Wilkerson. You see him along with Jeff Gaylord and Mike Robinson. Then Needham, Marcus Merrick, Williams, and Phillips round out your linebacking set. The defensive backs, Lindell Jones, Miller, Johnson, and Smith.
3 newcomers in that defensive secondary. They are beat up back there, Tim.
Badly beat up. Eric Johnson making his first start. Timmy Smith Lindell Jones and Bruce Miller. That's the secondary. Merrick, the linebacker, makes an audible call as he listens to Carano. Carano takes a 3-step drop, now reloads and looks for help. Throws across the middle, and it's complete. Mike Shaw, the tight end, makes the catch and has the first down before Timmy Smith can come up and make the stop.
Watch Glenn Carano here, because sometimes, Tim, he reminds me of Brian Sipe. Now watch this. He just kind of has a good sense of where pressure is coming, and the way he releases the ball reminds me of Sipe. Mike Shaw, number 87, on the receiving end of that, and Tim Smith, the fill-in safety man, their number 44, is the man who gets the hit.
First and 10 from the 42, and Pittsburgh comes back with a big play. Again, Carano goes play action. Again, he goes over the middle, and Jackie Flowers makes a spectacular catch. Cuts across the grain to the 30, and he'll be run out of bounds on the 27-yard line by number 59, Ben Needham. Marcus Merrick was hit in the head, and he may be hurt.
Jackie Flowers, number 84. Watch him now as he makes a little move to the outside, then curls back in over the middle and beats Lindell Jones, number 23. Marcus Merrick was the closest man to the ball right there. A full spinner by Jackie Flowers, and he races to the sidelines. Finally, number 59, Ben Needham, the linebacker, runs him out. Now, he has 6 catches. He's having his best day. 6 catches now for Jackie Flowers. Glenn Carano now 18 of 25 in the passing department, 212 yards, and 1 touchdown.
That one was for 31 yards. This is the pitch back to Lawrence, right side. I mentioned briefly when we went into that replay that Marcus Merrick may have been hurt. He took a pretty good lick to the head and was a little bit groggy, and he looked like a punch-drunk fighter. He almost fell down. The trainers helped him off, but he is okay, and he's coming back onto the field right now.
He's a tough guy. 572 career tackles when he was at Ohio State, surpassing the old mark held by another former linebacker, Tom Cousineau. Cousineau had 569.
Number 56, Marcus Merrick back in. 2nd and 5 from the 22. I formation. The give to Amos Lawrence. And oh my, is he tagged quickly at the line of scrimmage by number 75, Darrell Wilkerson, and Ray Phillips, 52, the linebacker.
How do you do? That kind of tackle. Not a nice greeting, however.
That's the perfect type of tackle, though. Tuck that tail, sky the eyes, drive right through the ball carrier.
Jerry Claiborne gave you that message?
Absolutely. The crowd now calls for defense. 7:44 remaining in the 3rd quarter. 3rd and 5 from the 22. William Miller, Walter Holman are the setbacks. Carano. Little dink pass over the middle of Walter Holman. Holman has a first down inside the 15. Timmy Smith, number 44, rides him out.
Glenn Carano continuing with the dink and dunk routes and completing his 19th pass, this time to Walter Holman, his fullback, who just runs a little flat pattern. The ball is perfectly thrown, and he's sandwiched there along the sidelines by number 44, Tim Smith, and number 45, that is Garrett Chase.
Walter Holman was the leading ball carrier his junior and senior years at West Virginia State. He averaged 6 yards a carry in college. The numbers on Carano. He's now faced with a 1st and 10. Pressure, the blitz. The pass intended for Flowers is overthrown. New Orleans came with the blitz and really put a lick on Glenn Carano. Tim Smith came again out of his safety position. New Orleans is not known as a blitzing team, but they are trying to put the pressure on Carano, trying to hurry his throws, and they have done that effectively.
Remember, though, when a team is hurting in the secondary, that's one of the ways to cover up for weakness. There's Tim Smith, number 44, the safety man, along with Marcus Merrick, number 56, Mike Brewington, number 58.
Pitch back to Rozier. Can't find a handle. Now he does. Left side. And he picks up a couple of quick yards. Bounces up. He is a tough, tough running back.
As I started to say, Tim, one of the ways you cover up weakness in the secondary is by blitzing. Remember that blitzing is basically a calculated risk. where you bring linebackers and or safety men, cornerbacks, and it basically necessitates man coverage. So when you do it, you're taking a risk. It's usually to cover up a weakness.
And they're using it quite effectively, trying to stay in the face of the quarterback, Lynn Ferrano.
3rd and 8. They have not been effective on 3rd down conversion.
.636. Now it's a high formation. Here comes the blitz. Once again, they come with the blitz. Rozier gets absolutely nothing. Gerald Bayless, number 60, came through cleanly.
Surprising call on 3rd and 8. I don't understand that call at all. Look at the blitz here. Tim Smith coming. Marcus Merrick coming. Number 58 coming.
You know, I inadvertently said I formation, and I was trying to think of the word blitz. That happens when you've been hitting the head too much. This is Tony Lee. There are the numbers on him. It's a 32-yarder. It's long enough, and it's good. So Pittsburgh comes roaring right back, and they are matching New Orleans point for point. It's tied at 10-all.
I like it.
If you really like it, I really like it. We can help you get it. We're GMAC. We're GMAC Financing.
GMAC has helped more people buy their new GM car or truck than anyone, with rates that make sense on models people want, all at your GM dealer.
If you really want it, we can help you get it. We're GMAC Financing. We got it!
It doesn't take a lot of huffing and puffing to get an Allstate Shape Up and Save discount.
There's one perfect for us mature types.
With Allstate's 55 and retired discounts, you could save 10% on home insurance and save on car insurance if you're 55.
Which is easy as 54, but takes a year longer.
And if you're retired.
Which means you don't work. I'll demonstrate.
Shape Up and Save.
It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Today you need an oil this good. You need Quaker State. When your engine's this new, you gotta protect your investment. You need an oil this good.
When your engine's this old, it needs extra care. You need an oil this good.
Small engines work so hard, they demand an oil this good.
These motor oils are refined exclusively from Pennsylvania grade crude. Quaker State is so good, it's America's best-selling motor oil. New cars,
Old cars, small cars.
today you need Quaker State. You need an oil this good.
So Pittsburgh comes back and ties the score at 10-all. Tony Lee will now kick off. Tony Good is the deep back for New Orleans. 43,984 fans enjoying this one at the Superdome. It is Tony Good. Gets out to the 20, maybe to the 21. Good special team coverage there. Howard McAdoo makes the tackle. Sometimes McAdoo, sometimes McAdoo. That time McAdoo.
McAdoo, McAdon't, McAdid. I like it.
Stand right there. Good work.
From the recesses of the mind of young Tim Brandt.
Pittsburgh has been impressive, Cupper. Every time they get down, they come flying right back.
Good work on special teams, offense, defense, kicking game. It's been that kind of afternoon.
Johnny Walton.
Good football game.
The quarterback, number 10. I formation. The give inside to Shalene. Shalene finds a hole and rambles out to the 27-yard line. Let's go downstairs now to Jim Bergamo.
All right, Gerald Bayless with me now. Gerald, a key defensive stop for you is the Maulers were obviously having a good drive.
Yes, you know, we just went out and we said we knew we had to, you know, get to them one way or another. And, you know, I just put out a little extra effort just to get them.
Why are the Breakers blitzing more?
Well, it's because the way they're doing, because they're, you know, blocking aggressive, and we just got to get to the quarterback better. And by blitzing, we'll get a quicker step on the guy that's on us.
All right, thank you very much. Gerald Bayless, back upstairs.
Doug Holly wraps up Marcus Dupree for not much of a gain on a 2nd and 5. So that'll bring up 3rd down now for Johnny Walton. We've got 4:34 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
We talked about the running style of Marcus Dupree. He just kind of lopes along. We look at Dick Curry, USFL Coach of the Year. in 1983. You know, he played for the legendary Frank Leahy at Notre Dame. Backup quarterback during those years.
Along with George Dixon, offensive coordinator at Michigan.
There were a lot of backup quarterbacks in those years.
3rd and 3 from the 28. Walton takes a very deep drop, now sprints out to the right, has a receiver. It's complete to Danny Ross. Danny Ross takes it to the 47-yard line. First down, New Orleans.
Dan Ross, the great tight end over from the Cincinnati Bengals. Watch how disciplined he is on his routes as he runs toward the sidelines. He sees that the ball is thrown behind him. He turns back toward the football, makes a move back toward the center of the field, and a whole host of tackles led by number 54, Rob Crosby, the linebacker formerly with the New York Jets. 20 yards on that reception. He's out of Northeastern.
27th catch of the year for Dan Ross. He now comes out. They go to the I-back. Smith in motion. From the 48. Walton pump fakes, throws long. Pass interference. Dave Langlois threw his body in the way of Frank Lockett, and the flags came out of the pocket quickly that time.
There is a penalty in this league for incidental contact, and there is a penalty for flagrant contact. This one, there's not much doubt about it. Watch as Lockett is running along the sideline. And let's see, Langlois knows that he's beaten number 24, so he just throws his body at the man. There was absolutely no doubt about that one.
He may have just stumbled, Cupper, but nonetheless, it is still pass interference.
Well, shit, you don't move till they tell you. Illegal chuck.
Well, it's not pass interference. You're wrong, I'm wrong. It is an illegal chuck. I didn't see that.
Illegal chuck. The pass was not catchable. Number 24 defense. First down.
Okay.
Well, I think I'd argue that point.
Well, Burl Sorgan, our referee today, explained it, saying there was, in fact, pass interference. If there was, it's not called because the ball was not catchable. So what they did call was an illegal chuck, which I did not see. In the replay, you did see the Yancey hit Lockett off the line of scrimmage, but that's legal for the first 5 yards.
I understand all that, but I think the ball might have been catchable. That's what I'm arguing about.
All right, we put it back on the 47-yard line. It is 1st and 10. Smith in motion. Walton. 3-step drop. Pitch and lateral. Danny Ross pitches back to Mark Shalene, and they have the first down. Well, there you go. You know, Dick Corey is the kind of coach that likes gadget plays. As a matter of fact, he's been receiving mail from fans, and when they send in plays, he'll use the play. That could be one of them.
I love the old hook and lateral play. This time it's to the tight end. Watch Dan Ross, number 86, down. He hooks. Now here comes Mark Shalene out of the backfield around, swinging up. There's the lateral. The tackle made ultimately by Rob Crosby, number 54. That's right. He takes fan mail every week. This goes back all the way to his days as a high school coach when he had boosters send in plays, and he's done it ever since. It's a great idea. It really creates enthusiasm from the fans.
Dave Langlois knocked him out of bounds along with Ron Crosby. Again, Walton going for the kill to Danny Ross. Danny Ross rides inside the 15-yard line. Again, it's Rob Crosby and Dave Langlois who make the tackle, but another first down for the New Orleans Breakers.
This is an impressive drive by the Breakers as they continue now. Look how they use the draw fake. Draw fake there. Pass over the head of the linebacker, leaping catch, once again by the tight end, Dan Ross, number 86, out of Northeastern, who was instrumental with the Bengals during their Super Bowl season in 1981.
Walton has been going to his tight end, and Danny Ross has been ripping Crosby. 3 catches on this drive over Rob Crosby, the linebacker. This time, Mark Shalene carries off tackle. Good change-up.
Mark Shalene is a bull, 225 pounds, one of the strongest players to ever graduate from the University of Nebraska, over 1,000 pounds on the leg machine, 475-pound bench press. He was the guy who was the lead blocker for Mike Rozier last season when Rozier got the Heisman Trophy. One of the best lead blockers I've ever seen.
Shalene was the 4th Nebraska player chosen in the draft, along with Rozier, Fryer, and Scott Reardon. 2nd and 6. The ball now on the 10. Left side of Shalene. Picks up maybe 1, possibly 2.
Last year, you'll remember, when they were the Boston Breakers, Nebraska was one of their territorial schools. And so they really have a Cornhusker connection. 7 Cornhuskers all told on their roster.
Let's go, Husker!
Guys like Ray Phillips, Shalene, Frank Lockett is also from Nebraska, along with Dan Hurley.
Hey, John!
3rd and 6 from the 10. They didn't give him anything on the last carry. Anthony Steele comes in. Well, look at this. Right hand of the screen. It's Langlois and Mike McLaughlin pushing back and forth, having words. It's been that kind of game. Both clubs are playing with a great deal of intensity.
Start, number 67, offense.
Holmes and Lockett have really been going after it.
Look at this altercation right here. Boy, they're down there scratching and clawing. I'm telling you. Look at this.
Umpire Elijah.
Keep in mind now, Holmes plays a lot of man-to-man, while the rest of the defensive secondary plays zone. He's that talented, and he's been giving Frank Lockett a workout. You see the time remaining in the 3rd quarter. The down is 3rd and 11. The situation in the scheme, shotgun formation for Walton. Walton throws across the middle, complete, touchdown, New Orleans! Marion Brown makes a spectacular catch at the goal line. Dick Torrey celebrates, the crowd celebrates, and the Breakers are back on the board.
Yeah, man.
This is vintage Johnny Walton as he throws from the shotgun. He's looking for his wide receiver, Marion Brown, number 82, who's running a curl-in route right there. And look at that as he makes a leaping catch in the end zone.
The extra point attempt is good. And it's 17-10. The Breakers. Marion Brown's first touchdown catch. And a 7-point lead.
I am convinced that we can build a personal computer that
Compact
really works
Computer was
better.
born in a coffee shop. 3 men with an idea for a personal computer that would simply work better.
It should run thousands of programs.
Be rugged, powerful as well as portable.
I got it.
Maybe even a hard disk. I've got an idea that just might let us do that.
The next year, Compaq became the most successful new company in the history of American business because they were right.
How about some coffee?
It simply works better. Compaq.
Magna from Honda. Own one, and you own the road.
Thursday, a mother reunited with her children after 44 long years. That's incredible.
Jim Lampley again in New York. With Herschel Walker sitting it out today for the Generals, the pressure is on Maurice Carthen to pick up the running game, and he's done just that. This 4-yard touchdown run in the 4th quarter has given New Jersey a 28-10 lead over Memphis. Carthen has 70 yards on the day, and the Generals are rolling. Back to Tim Brandt in New Orleans.
Back here at the Superdome, Tim Mazzetti has loaded it up. He's ready to kick it away. The deep man, number 22, William Miller for Pittsburgh. Miller is standing on about the 2. That's Mazzetti. Mazzetti gets off a pretty good boot. It'll be fielded by Miller on the 7. Looking for his wedge. Gets across, finds an opening. 25, 30, 33-yard line. The tackle made by Garrett Chase, number 45, as you look at Johnny Walton, the quarterback. He's thinking about what he has to do the next drive. He's already done it once. He just came back and scored in this half to make it 17-10. We'll be back right after this message.
Chevrolet announces a major price reduction, all the way down to $5,990 on our tough Chevy S10 short wheelbase pickups. A reduction of over $400. And that's not all. Special factory incentives to dealers make it possible for them to pass along up to $500 on all new S10 pickups and maxi cabs if you take delivery out of stock by May 31st. It's a great time to save on a tough Chevy S10 pickup. See your Chevy dealers now.
Here's to good friends.
Terrific reunion.
Yeah, the last time we were here, we made history. It's kind of special. I stole that ball. I made the pass. I made the shot. Make that shot again, we'll buy you a loan rock. The beer will pour. Must say something.
Hey, what can I tell you? We still got it.
Never lost it.
Let it be low and brown.
The Pittsburgh offense has Jackie Flowers and Greg Anderson as the wideouts. They also flex their tight end. Their tight end in the ball game right now, Mike Rozier, the setback. He's the I-back. This is Toronto on 1st and 10. Across the middle, it's complete to Greg Anderson. You know, I was looking for the tight end, Cupper. I didn't see a tight end in the ball game that time. I think they went to 3 wideouts.
3 wide receiver offense.
Mike Shaw is the tight end. United States Football League, Pittsburgh Maulers, New Orleans Breakers continue after this message and a word from our local stations.
Today, competition is tougher than ever. With thousands of new businesses opening, you have to be smarter than the people down the street. You need smarter ways to manage your cash flow, inventory,
We'll ship it by air.
customer relations.
Just use our 800 number.
By tailoring AT&T Watts and 800 service in ways you never thought of, you can handle the competition wherever it comes from. AT&T Communications.
You'll find special offers and big savings at your hardware store or home center during the Great Spring Hardware Sale. So act now. Save over 30% on this 30-foot Lufkin Power measuring tape with 1-inch wide blade. Buy a deluxe Black & Decker hedge trimmer and get 2 Sunset gardening books or this extension cord free. Tool up with True Temper and save 20% or more on True Temper's finest quality pruner. Look for the savings in these magazines and at participating hardware stores and home centers during the Great Spring Hardware Sale.
Tuesday, Jack plays a woman.
Grandma Tipper.
To win a fortune. Three's Company. Then a Hollywood party
John Travolta is a star.
has the girls shaping up.
You're thinking fun.
Tuesday, all starting at 9, 8 Central and Mountain.
The weather's closing in. The road's getting worse. That's when you want the performance of Exxon unleaded regular gasoline. Higher in octane than most other unleaded regulars to help silence knocks and pings and give you the performance you need. For still higher octane, try Exxon Extra Unleaded. When you want performance, you want Exxon. Quality you can count on.
Nothing like this ever happened to your lawn before. Scott's announces the Turf Builder fertilizer just got better. Now it gives you even healthier growth. And remarkably, Scott's can sell new Turf Builder for less. When Turf Builder gets better and it costs less, that's a breakthrough. New Turf Builder from Scott's. Now you can pay less for the #1 selling fertilizer on Earth.
Stan Savran and Weekend Sports on Action News.
There's the score as we head into the final quarter of play at the Superdome in New Orleans. Tim Brantley, Gross Cup with you. The tight end is Mike Shaw now. They do come back with the tight end. The wideouts, Jackie Flowers, Greg Anderson. Toronto to throw on 1st and 10. Does underneath. That's Mike Rozier. Spins out of 1 tackle. Gets across the 45. Down into the 44-yard line. And a flag is thrown there. He has 20 catches now. Let's go downstairs. Here's Jim Bergamo.
I'm with Marion Brown, who caught that 15-yard reception. Marion, that was the first time the Breakers ran that route off the shotgun today. What was it that you or the coaching staff saw that made you think it was going to work?
Well, it was something that we picked up in the film study this week, and we saw that the cornerbacks, along with the safety, are hanging kind of deep. And so we worked on it this week in practice. I was kind of glad I caught it for a touchdown because I missed it a couple of times in practice.
Feels good to get your first touchdown.
It does. Real nice.
All right. Hope you have many more, Marion.
Okay,
back upstairs to Tim and Lee.
Marion Brown, his first touchdown as a pro. Here's the call.
Grasping the face mask. Number 56, defense. First down.
That's Marcus Merrick, number 56, charged with that penalty. Flowers, Greg Anderson, the wideouts. As you look at Joe Pendry, the Pittsburgh coach. High formation. Woodrow Wilson is in the ball game now in the secondary. Tim Smith comes out for New Orleans. From the 39, Toronto in trouble. Unloads it. Poorly thrown. Intercepted. That's Lindell Jones. Poor pass. Great interception by Lindell Jones. Toronto is shaken up. Glenn Carano is still down, and he's holding his left leg.
Tim, Glenn Carano, number 18, should have never thrown this pass. Look how he is under pressure here, applied by Marcus Merrick, number 56, and that ball is thrown to Greg Anderson, intercepted by Lindell Jones.
A spectacular interception. Carano is still down. Our score, 17-10.
Canon, the official 35mm camera of the 1984 Olympics, asks, how do you cover three very different athletes? With Jennifer Chandler, your imagination soars. Canon's zoom makes a range of shots sharp. Adrian Dantley's face says it all. Canon's telephoto makes close shots clear. Frank Shorter's endless miles. Canon's wide angle makes every inch crisp. Put a Canon on your Canon.
Chevrolet, taking charge.
Ever notice how many Chevy Chevettes you see on the road? That's because Chevette's basic design hasn't changed in 9 years. A design so easy to service, many people do it themselves. And so dependable, 97% ever built are still going strong. Chevette, the lowest price car built in America, designed to please almost everybody.
Chevrolet,
and you.
Taking charge.
Jim Lampley in New York. It may be too late, but the Philly Stars are mounting a comeback effort in Arizona. 40 seconds left in the third quarter as Chuck Fusina hit running back David Riley down the middle with his 30-yard touchdown pass. They missed the two-point conversion. It's 21-12 Arizona. Tim, I noticed that Glenn Carano has the miseries down there. Are we going to see Tom Rosance?
Rosance is warming up on the sideline right now, but we are happy to tell you that Carano has walked off the field. We were very concerned that it was a knee. He had arthroscopic surgery on that left leg in the off-season. However, you can see him now. He seems to be okay. He's walking around throwing the football. It was a poorly thrown pass, and it was intercepted. Now, Carano has a completion rate of 56%. As a matter of fact, prior to his third quarter interception last week, Carano had thrown 50 passes without an INT. This is Buford Jordan across the 30, the 40, 45 into Pittsburgh territory. Bill Yancey makes the tackle. Buford Jordan still going.
Another gadget play, Tim. They faked the reverse. Buford Jordan faked the reverse and then sped around his right side. And we talked about this guy at the top of the show. Watch the fake reverse. Watch it right there. It looks like it's going to be the reverse to Frank Lockett. And turning up the field is number 24. Buford Jordan out of McNeese State, where he became the most prolific collegiate rusher in Louisiana history. Bill Yancey out of Fresno State, number 21, finally makes the tackle.
A 43-yard gain for Buford Jordan, the Breakers' first draft choice. All-time rushing leader in the state of Louisiana collegiate history. First and 10 from the 44. Frank Lockett in motion. The give inside. Mark Shalene off left tackle, and he bangs out for 7 yards before Mike McKibben can pull him down. Big, big hole on that side of the line.
Good opening here for fullback Mark Shalene on the left side, the left guard, and the left tackle right there. Both execute their blocks perfectly. That's Raymond and Bullard, number 65 and 72. It was just a fullback slant off the left side. Dick Curry there, signaling in plays. Sometimes the plays are sent in, sometimes they are flashed in. Dick Curry charts the plays himself.
2nd and 3. Inside handoff again to Shalene out of Nebraska. 3 touchdowns for Shalene this season. Great job being done by the New Orleans front offensive line as you look now at Glenn Carano. That offensive line led by Mike McLaughlin, Jerry Raymond, Lewis Bullard, Greg Horton, and Dan Hurley. Dick Corey was yelling, hurry up. Now he calls timeout. There's something that he doesn't like, and he wants to correct it. We've got 12:43 remaining in the ball game. The Breakers still lead 17-10, but they're threatening again.
That kid's out there again. But he's not alone. He's got a dream with him. And every night after work, he chases that dream. The one that says, someday, you're going to watch him run 400 meters faster than any other man in the summer games. And in the past, it probably would have been just a dream. But we have an Olympic training center now in Colorado Springs. And he can go there and learn how to run faster than he's ever run before. So maybe he'll become as good as he believes he can be. And maybe one summer day, when you're watching the 84 games, you just might say, that kid's out there again. This American Dream is brought to you by Miller High Life, the sponsor of the U.S. Olympic Training Center.
Knockout artist Mark Freeland and super heavyweight Tyrell Biggs defend their titles in the World Amateur Boxing Championship Challenge. Plus a dynamic pack-style speed skating competition on ABC's Wide World of Sports Saturday.
Johnny Walton has concluded his meeting with head coach Dick Corey. You see the time, 12:43 remaining in the ball game. New Orleans 17, Pittsburgh 10. But New Orleans is threatening. 3rd and 2 from the 36-yard line. That's Buford Jordan. Picks up 1, maybe 2. He'll still be shy of the first down. Ernest Adams and Jeff Delaney come up for the tackle.
Tim, we've talked right along about the closeness of this football game, both on the scoreboard and in the stats. And as you look at the third quarter numbers, you see once again how the game has been close in almost every respect. It's been exciting in almost every respect. We've had big plays on offense, big plays on defense. Special teams have been effective. And we've seen some cute gadget plays, just as we said we might, from the New Orleans Breakers.
This is a big 4th down play. It's 4th and 2 from the 36. David Bale, Dan Ross come in, and there's timeout, New Orleans. Well, Frank Lockett came out, and they put in 2 tight ends, and they were going to gamble on 4th and 2. Whether they still decide to go for it, we're not quite sure. Timeout, New Orleans. They'll talk it over.
Chevrolet announces a major price reduction, all the way down to $5,990 on our tough Chevy S10 short wheelbase pickups. A reduction of over $400. And that's not all. Special factory incentives to dealers make it possible for them to pass along up to $500 on all new S10 pickups and MaxiCab if you take delivery out of stock by May 31st. It's a great time to save on a tough Chevy S10 pickup. See your Chevy dealers now.
I don't like your face.
Shaving irritates it. I need Ice Blue Aqua Velva.
It turns red-hot razor burn to cool comfort, smooths your face.
Smells great, too.
There's something about an Ice Blue Aqua Velva man.
Look at your hair. You need an Ace comb.
Watch how an Ace hard rubber comb with rounded teeth glides smoothly and gently, while a plastic comb grabs and snags.
Your hair looks terrific.
No comb cares like an Ace.
1984 is an Olympic year, not only for able-bodied athletes, but for disabled athletes as well.
This is the first time the International Games for the Disabled will be held in the United States. They'll feature world-class competitors in more than 20 Olympic-style events. I support these brave athletes, but they need your support as well. To find out how you can help, write to International Games for the Disabled, Eisenhower Park, East Meadow, New York, 11554.
The Breakers have talked things over on the sidelines. They have decided once again to come out, load up, and go for the first down on 4th and 2 from the 36. Two tight ends. An extra lineman. And this is Buford Jordan, and he's not going to make it. Jeff Delaney came up, number 41, and made an outstanding tackle on Buford Jordan to stop the first down attempt. Oh, my, that's a big play, Cupper.
Jeff Delaney, number 41, who had a great career at Pittsburgh, makes a crucial tackle right here on number 24, tailback Buford Jordan. You know, that's a clinic on open field tackling right there. Beautiful play. Glenn Carano, we're happy to say, has returned to action for the Pittsburgh Maulers.
Glenn Carano had been hurt. He left the field under his own power. He's on the field now. 1st and 10 from the 37. Throws. Flowers complete. First down. Well, every one of Flowers' 17 receptions for Pittsburgh have either been for a touchdown or a first down. He is extremely productive.
That is reception number 7 for Jackie Flowers. And again, it's the sideline cut, which has been far and away his most effective route. The man who gets the hit along the sidelines is number 23, Lindell Jones. They were teammates last year for the Arizona Wranglers.
That's quite a streak. Every time you make a catch, it's for a touchdown or a first down.
Not bad.
On the 49-yard line, everybody split wide. One setback is Rozier. The swing pass to Rozier. Midfield. Good pursuit by the New Orleans defense that time. He was surrounded. Pickup of 2. Ray Phillips and Mike Brewington come up and make the stop.
Here is what Pittsburgh has done on their last 5 possessions. They have turned it over 3 of 5 times. You know, in the turnover takeaway statistic, they came into the game +4. New Orleans was -2. It's going to hurt them. That's going to hurt that stat.
But you know, coming into this ball game, Carano had thrown 154 passes and been intercepted only 5 times. 2nd and 8 from the 49. Carano under pressure. Now he throws. Has a receiver complete. First down to Mike Shaw, the tight end.
Good adjustment there by Glenn Carano. He was under a lot of pressure as we look at Joe Pendry along the sidelines there. Jeff Gaylord is the man who's applying the pressure. Look at that. Good escape dimension by Carano as he steps to the left, slides forward in the pocket, finds Mike Shaw, his tight end, number 87, in the seam there.
Well, I tell you, he really fired that ball, too, like a frozen rope. 1st and 10, ball on the 34. 10 minutes, 13 seconds remaining in the ball game. 7-point breaker lead. Jackie Flowers, another first down, his 18th catch, and the streak is still alive. Marcus Merrick, 56, comes up and makes the tackle.
We talked about the young, inexperienced people in the Breakers secondary, and Carano once again going to work. He can throw underneath. They're giving a lot of cushion. See it right there. Quick slant in route to number 84, Jackie Flowers. Remember, these two worked together with the Dallas Cowboys in 1980.
Flowers had 140 yards receiving last week. He has 117 here today. Again, it's Flowers, and he's close to another first down. It looks like the streak is still alive. His 9th catch of the afternoon.
Jackie Flowers, we talked about him earlier. He is a big, strong, physical player out of Florida State. He is not afraid to go over the middle. He will catch the ball in traffic. It's the identical route. It's a slant-in pattern. Carano throws it right on the numbers, and Flowers does the right thing there. He spins and goes down. 9 catches, 128 yards on the afternoon.
He led the Arizona Wranglers last year with 63 catches, 869 yards, and 11 touchdowns. 1st and goal from the 7. Carano, fade pattern. Again, there's a mix-up. Jackie Flowers came inside. The ball was thrown outside, and Joe Pendry doesn't like it. Glenn Carano now, 26 of 36 for 300 yards.
That's his best day as a professional. 300 yards now for Carano. Look at this. He runs the wrong route. He's supposed to be running a fade pattern. He runs a slant in route. Toronto is throwing to the corner of the end zone, and Jackie is inside.
A point to be made there. He may not know the offense that well. He was acquired in a trade just March 20th. Second and goal from the 7. Pittsburgh, here comes the blitz. Toronto under pressure, across the middle, touchdown. Greg Anderson, number 80, makes the reception. He had Eric Johnson, 37, beaten. And once again, Pittsburgh comes flying right back.
Tim, this has been a marvelous football game. Toronto going to work once again to Greg Anderson. He found him over the middle earlier today. Eric Johnson, number 37, is on the coverage. Anderson gets a step ahead of him, and that ball had to be thrown perfectly. It was, and Toronto now has 2 touchdown passes.
Tony Lee on to attempt the all-important extra point with 8:44 left in the ball game. Somebody jumped. There is a flag. Looked like it was Darrell Wilkinson, 75, who came across the line for New Orleans. Tony Lee out of Toledo, signed as a rookie after the second week of the season, replacing Mickey Barilla, who opened the year with Pittsburgh. In college, Lee was 41 of 51 in field goal attempts. Extra points, 97%.
Encroachment, number 53 defense. The ball was not snapped. The penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
It was called on Mike McLaughlin. And if that's the case, something's crazy. He said 53, and Mike McLaughlin's an offensive player. Tony Lee's kick is good. We're tied up again. So, for the last 8 minutes and 44 seconds of this ball game, the two will battle it out. Right now it's tied, 17-17.
The United States Football League is an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Today's game is being sponsored by Chevrolet. America's on the move, and Chevrolet is supplying the wheels. Chevrolet and you taking charge. And by Canon, proud to be the world's leader in 35mm photography and the official 35mm camera of the 1984 Olympics.
Tim Brandt and Lee Groscup from the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. 8:44 remaining in the ball game. Pittsburgh to kick off. It is Tony Lee, and he is kicking to Tony Good. Tony Good will never get it because the ball will go out of bounds on the 2. There will be a flag, and they'll mark it back. Let's go downstairs now. Here's Jimmy Bergamo.
All right, Greg Anderson here with me. Greg, it may have looked like a similar play, but it was really a different touchdown than what you caught in the first quarter.
Right, yes. The first time it was the in route, and the second time it was the crossing route. And offensive line gave him time to throw the ball and get me the touchdown.
Toronto was under a lot of pressure. Did you notice that?
Yes, he hung in there real well. He waited till I came open and hit me.
Are you taking advantage of that inexperienced New Orleans secondary?
Yes, we found out it was kind of banged up coming into the game, so we want to just throw the ball and see what we can do with it, see if we can move the ball through the air.
All right, Greg, thank you very much.
All right, I want to say hi to my mom and dad and everybody back home.
All right, thank you, Greg Anderson.
Well, everybody except said hello.
Well, he's right. Toronto now 27 of 37 in the passing department, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns. He has had that marred by 2 interceptions. But as you look at the drive right there, this Pittsburgh team has been impressive today, Tim. One of the more impressive expansion teams in the United States Football League.
So that man moves it back. He was penalized for kicking it out of bounds. Don't forget, New Orleans still has a penalty coming up after the kickoff. This one rolls into the end zone, and it will not be run out. Anthony Steele downs it, number 33. And now they bring it out.
How about a clip on the other side?
One of the Pittsburgh players is slow getting up.
Anthony
It
Steele.
is Ira Albright.
Wanted to tell you that that Anthony Steele sang the national anthem today.
Did an outstanding job also, we should add. He has a nightclub act that he has in the off-season. Roams the country singing. Quite a voice.
Ira Albright, who we just saw going off the field there, reportedly has the biggest thighs in professional football.
Oh, you'd have to bring out the tape measure. He says they're 38 inches. Earl Campbell's are awfully close to that. So here we go. Strap it on. 17-17. 8:31. The time remaining. The give inside of Buford Jordan, and he breaks it big for another first down. Rob Crosby takes him down, but Buford Jordan has the first for New Orleans.
I like this rookie out of McNeese State. We've been talking about him all afternoon, Tim. I think that he's got just unlimited potential. You look at his numbers there. He's 6 foot, 222 pounds. He surpassed the great Charles Alexander and became the most prolific rusher in Louisiana collegiate history.
Very strong, very fast. First and 10 from the 32. Johnny Walton has time to throw. Incomplete.
This might be the most important drive of the day for the New Orleans Breakers right now, and Johnny Walton has got to go to work. We've talked about how he really is a coach on the field. This is first down for Johnny Walton as we look at the replay, and he's trying to go to an intermediate route. He's trying to find his tight end, no, his wide receiver, Marion Brown, number 82, on a curling route. The ball was tipped, deflected away.
7:44 remaining in this ball game. Second and 10 from the 32. Walton double pumps, now throws deep, has a man that's overthrown. It was intended for Dan Ross, and he had a step on the linebacker, Mike McKibben.
Now that's the second time today that Johnny Walton might have thrown the ball with a softer, more looping trajectory. Dan Ross, number 86, is running a seam pattern here. You see him coming up the seam, breaking it back towards the post, and he has a step on the defender there, Mike McKibben, number 53. So you had a tight end running with a linebacker, and that's a mismatch.
Johnny Walton, quite a story. 36 years old, 4 years with the Eagles. He backed up Roman Gabriel, played for the Rams, the Chicago Fire, the Eagles. He grew up playing cornfield football in Elizabeth City. Third and 10 for Walton. Throws deep, overthrown, intended for 85, Charlie Smith. And Charlie Smith was open. We talked about this earlier, Cupper. When Walton was with the Eagles, he threw a touchdown pass to Charlie Smith against the Dallas Cowboys to give the Eagles that win.
Impressive story, and one that you just documented very well. We talked about Johnny Walton at the very top of the show. His wife wrote a book about him entitled Never Give Up.
A chronicle of Johnny's years with the NFL and the World Football League. Dario Casarino punts it away. Not a particularly good kick. It'll hit way short. But it rolls halfway down the Bourbon Street. The 7-yard line. Dario Casarino, number 1. That was a 32-yard roll.
Dario Casarino, Tim, we talked about his unique style of punting. Now watch how he literally throws the football up. See that? He throws it up in the air, and they say they never know if it's going to be a whip or an 80-yarder.
He does say, however, that even when he shanks one, he has enough leg strength to kick it 35 yards in a shank.
Well, he's 6'7" and well over 200 pounds, so he's not your typical punter.
That was a shank. It went 61 yards, but 32 of the 61, all from the roll. Carano backed up down, first and 10. Throws to Greg Anderson. Anderson has a first down, and here comes Pittsburgh. What a ball game. It's now a final. New Jersey has beaten the Showboats 35-10, and look at the numbers on Brian Sipe.
That's 2 weeks in a row that Brian Sipe has been red hot. Remember last week he had impressive numbers against the Los Angeles Express as he kind of upstaged the debut of Steve Young.
Brian Sipe looks a lot like this guy, Glenn Carano. Their styles are very similar. First and 10 from the 19. Pass is complete to Mike Shaw, the tight end, as he runs out of bounds and stops the clock with 6:09 remaining.
It looked momentarily like Garrett Chase, number 45, had an interception.
You know, Joe Pendry made the point before the ball game when we were talking to him down in the locker room that Carano now, the last 2 weeks, is putting it in the seams. He'll take chances like that. He's thinking winning rather than trying not to lose. He's becoming much more aggressive.
He's improving rapidly in recent weeks.
Out to the 30-yard line now. 1st and 10 for Carano. Anderson in motion. The throw across the 40 to the 43-yard line. Rambles Mike Rozier out of Nebraska.
Heisman Trophy winner last season and the best ball carrier in Big 8 history. Single back right there. Rozier, the I back. Good draw execution right there, and you see some of the fancy footwork as he gets into the secondary. But basically, as I said earlier, he is a north and south runner.
Rozier has 44 yards now and 13 carries. The clock is down to 5.5 minutes. 1st and 10 for the 44. Carano under pressure again. Throws across the middle of Mike Shaw, and it's complete. Into New Orleans territory before Bruce Miller trips him up.
A moment ago, you likened Glenn Carano to Brian Sipe. I think they're very similar in their styles. And there is Mike Shaw, the tight end, number 87, over the middle. 6 catches for him on the afternoon. And he's brought down by number 40 in the secondary. That's cornerback Bruce Miller.
Glenn Carano is red hot. He's now 30 of 40 for 336 yards. His best game ever. 2nd and 4. He's going to throw again. Out pattern. Incomplete, intended for Mike Shaw. Bruce Miller, good coverage that time. Don't forget, the exciting action continues next week on the United States Football League. The 2 games that we'll be showing you, Arizona at New Jersey and Birmingham at Michigan. 2 very, very good ones.
That's an impressive doubleheader. That might be the best doubleheader we've scheduled all season.
And the league just gets better and better. 3rd and 4. The ball on the 50. 4 minutes, 47 seconds remaining. The Breakers 17, the Maulers 17. Pittsburgh to throw. Carano has a man. Complete to Greg Anderson. Greg Anderson came into the ball game with 19 catches.
Carano getting good protection now. And he shows a lot of poise. He takes this extra time. He sets up, and he drills that ball over the middle to Greg Anderson out of Alabama State, a 2nd-year player who caught a lot of passes last season for the Birmingham Stallions.
28 catches for Birmingham and 5 touchdowns last year. 1st and 10 from the 35. Blitz. Jackie Flowers has it. Well, his streak is broken. He didn't pick up the 1st down, but it was a clutch catch when Carano was under a lot of pressure and just unloaded it.
Glenn Carano reads the blitz well, and we're isolated here on Jackie Flowers along the sidelines. He sees the pressure, and he pulls it up short. He hooks up short, and he actually saves Carano by doing that. He has 10 catches on the afternoon. And what a day he's having.
Great concentration. You just see him look the ball in and tuck it away before ever thinking about running. He has 20 catches now in the last 3 games. Carano looks at the defense, calls an audible. 2nd and 3, 30-second clock, almost down. Man-on-man coverage, he goes. Fade pattern complete against Miller. That was a great read by Carano. He saw the man-to-man coverage was rolled up on the outside. He saw Greg Anderson, called his number on the fade, and made the pass.
Everything you said is absolutely right. A quick read by Carano. And now he throws one of the prettiest fade routes I've seen this season. The ball is thrown to the outside, looping trajectory over the outside shoulder along the sideline. 27-yard reception. That might be the biggest play of the day for the Pittsburgh Maulers as they're down there now knocking at the door.
You made an outstanding point when you talked about the banged-up secondary of New Orleans. They've got inexperience back there. Eric Johnson's first start. He's been the nickel backup until this point. You've got Woodrow Wilson out of the game with an injury. Bruce Miller has replaced him. It is inexperience. We've got 3 minutes, 15 seconds left. First and goal from the 1. Carano takes it himself. No signal yet. It'll bring up second and goal.
One of the guys cheering up here in the booth is Glenn Carano's younger brother, Greg Carano, and he is really pumped up today. Of course, his twin brother, Gene, was his primary target in high school.
Family has the El Dorado Hotel in Reno, Nevada. 2 minutes, 56 seconds left to play in this ball game in New Orleans. Second and 1. Second and goal from the 1. Again, it's Carano. Again, we don't have a signal. Outstanding goal line defense by New Orleans. The way to play that goal line defense. Late signal, touchdown. The referee must have been waiting for him to umpire to see where Carano was.
Yeah. Glenn Carano, for the second week in a row, calls his own number. And remember, all that has to happen is for the ball to break the plane of the goal line. It is very difficult to see from this vantage point, but it looked like the initial surge was enough to propel Carano into the end zone.
Tony Lee for the extra point. And it's good. So Carano, right there, bangs his way in on the quarterback sneak behind Chuck Corral and Don Corbin. There's your score. We've got 2:46 left. You're looking at Dick Corey, the head coach of the New Orleans Breakers. He's talking to number 10, his quarterback, Johnny Walton. The clock says 2:46. A squib kick. And it'll go out of bounds, so they'll back him up again and move back, penalize him, and a flag. The flag lands right on the shoulder of David Bale.
A squid kick. You've been eating too much seafood, partner.
Squib kick.
Free kick.
Keep it on the ground.
Free kick.
Re-kick it. There's the scoring drive. 93 yards in 10 plays. 4:31 of the clock. 24-17.
Marvelous drive by the Maulers, and what a day Carano is having. 33 of 44, 385 yards, 2 touchdown passes, and he has scored one himself for the second week in a row.
Let's go downstairs very quickly. Here's Jim Bergamo.
All right, Glenn Carano, second straight week, you've taken it in yourself.
Well, I like those quarterback sneaks from about the 1-yard line.
Obviously, you still are taking advantage of that secondary.
Well, we're doing a good job against our receivers and catching the ball real good, and the offensive line's doing a good job, and I'm happy to hit them.
All right, Glenn, thank you very much. Let's go back upstairs.
Okay, Tony Lee will kick it off again. The deep men. Tony Good, number 31. Last time it was a squib kick. They don't want a big return. This time he'll kick it away. It'll be Tony Good on the 6-yard line. Breaks to the outside. Good coverage by the special teams of the Pittsburgh Maulers. Now, they say Johnny Walton is one of the best 2-minute quarterbacks in the game of football in any league. He now has a chance with 2 minutes and 31 seconds left as you look at Johnny Walton. And keep in mind, Lee Grosscup has already told you that the book that was written by his wife is called Never Give Up. And he's been in games like this before, Cup.
He is one of the best hurry-up offense guys in the league, as you pointed out. And earlier this season against the Chicago Blitz, he rallied his team. Then the Blitz came back, tied the game. And then in overtime, Johnny Walton found Frank Lockett for the winning touchdown. So they know what overtime is about.
Shotgun formation for Walton. Shotgun draw is to Buford Jordan. That was a big gainer before. It's a big gainer this time. First down, New Orleans. Buford Jordan. Exceptional in the 2-minute drill. We told you as Buford Jordan struggles. Last year, we saw him beat Philadelphia, Chicago, 2 wins over Washington and New Jersey, all in the last 2 minutes. When we come back, he'll have his chance again.
If you love
The United States Football League is an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Today's game has been sponsored by Chevrolet. America's on the move, and Chevrolet is supplying the wheels. Chevrolet and you taking charge. By Lowenbrau. When you want the taste of a truly great beer, there's really only one. Tonight, let it be Lowenbrau. And by IBM and the new IBM PC Junior, a bright little addition to the family, designed by IBM to make computing easy for everyone.
New Orleans Breakers. He's calling the offense now. He has 2 minutes to work. 24-17 is our score. Shotgun, quick release. That's Charlie Smith. Charlie Smith out across the 45, close to a first down. He's got it. Larry Friday pulls him down after he has the first down.
I thought we were going to see the hook and lateral there for a minute. Charlie Smith catching the short hook route. Back to work goes Johnny Walton out of the shotgun.
We're down to 1 minute, 50 seconds left. Again, it's Charlie Smith to the 40-yard line. There's a flag. It's called on Larry Friday, the defensive back. Last year, we televised the Boston Breaker Philadelphia game. One of the most exciting games I've seen in a long time. Walton's pass to Charlie Smith was tipped in the end zone. Frank Lockett made the catch as time expired.
Johnny Walton from the shotgun throwing to Charlie Smith, and he's hit hard by Larry Friday, the free safety man, number 27. Looks like personal foul, Tim.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness, number 27, White. First down.
It was Larry Friday, number 27. First down, New Orleans. 1 minute, 45 seconds left. They trail by 7. And keep in mind, this is a 2-point league. They can go for the 2 points for the win.
I don't know if I'll be Dick right now. That'd be a decision.
3 fouls, 980 for fans at Superdome. On 1st and 10. Walton reloads, pumps, throws deep. The pass, incomplete. In 10, break cover by Delaney.
Frank Lockett, we spotlighted at our show, says man on earth can cover him, man on man. Well, he's got 2 of them covering him right now. Friday and Delaney, number 41 and 27. You talk about this being a game of inches. Look how close that is to being a touchdown, Tim.
Frank Lockett's brother died of a brain tumor just prior to this season. Frank says he's playing for 2 and credits his brother as the incentive to carry on. It's 2nd and 10 for Johnny Walton. He throws deep. Charlie Smith, touchdown, Mullins. And listen to the crowd.
Johnny Walton, as he has done so many times in the past, rallies his team here. He's throwing to Charlie Smith to the corner. Smith beats Larry Friday, number 27. And look at that as he concentrates and holds on to the football, juggling it into the end zone.
Tim Mazzetti on to try the extra point. Well, how much does it matter that this is an expansion club now? I think in a minute 34 second game against the club that's 5-1. Much more experience for you all. Do you think win or do you think have to lose?
That's an excellent point. I think that playing for a coach like Joe Pendry, they're going to be thinking and also really come of age in the last minute anyway.
Mazzetti to kick off. It'll be fielded by William Miller at the 1. Oh, he's nailed at the 10. Great hit by Anthony Steele. Let's go downstairs quickly now. Johnny Walton is with Jim Bergamo.
All right, Johnny Walton. Johnny, you had incredible success on that drive where you weren't successful earlier. What was the difference?
Well, I think we had our back up against the wall and we had to do the best we could. So, we accepted the motto last year that we were never going to give up. You play a football game here, we plan to play the whole 6 minutes. So, it resulted to a touchdown.
Back. Corona, the quarterback. He's having his best day as a pro. 1st and 10 from the 12 with 1:31 left in the ball game. Stumbles as he comes out from behind center. Gets it to Mike Rozier. Rozier takes it out to the 14-yard line. And let me tell you that Rozier had his knee packed nice during that last New Orleans Breakers series.
There's a guy that knows the difference between pain and injury.
Well, that scoreboard tells the story. You can play with pain. You can't play with injury. 2nd and 7 from the 15. Toronto. Jackie Flowers. Great defensive play. Lindell Jones, number 23. Stayed in his hip pocket. Played him inside out. Made the read.
Here is a key defensive play for the New Orleans Breakers. Watch number 23 cornerback Lindell Jones as he bats the ball away from Jackie Flowers, number 84, and that has been the most successful route for Flowers today.
Listen to the crowd. Big 3rd and 7 from the 15 with 1 minute and 1 second remaining. Pressure. Almost intercepted. Great play by Junior Ayew. Number 77. He comes in on passing situation. Played 10 years in Montreal. He grew up and lives in the off-season in Hawaii. He's out of Arizona State, and he almost had an interception.
Junior Ayew, who played for Frank Kush at Arizona State, in there on passing situations, almost has an interception on the swing pass intended for Mike Rozier. How close that was.
And now the pressure switch to the other side. Larry Swider will punt it away. High spiraling punt. It'll be fielded on the 35. Fair catch by Woodrow Wilson out of North Carolina State.
Clutch punt by Larry Swider. 49 yards on that route.
So now Johnny Walton has 48 seconds to work.
And that's plenty of time for him. He can do a lot in 48 seconds.
He can do a lot, but can he go 64 yards?
Remember, he's got the most consistent field goal kicker in the league in Tim Mazzetti.
He is also one of the most experienced quarterbacks. Mazzetti is 7 of 8 in field goals. His longest is a 40-yarder. Shotgun formation for New Orleans. Shotgun. Draw. Buford Jordan. First down. Inside Pittsburgh territory. Driving, spinning, turning to the 44-yard line. 6 foot, 222 pounds. Buford Jordan.
They have had tremendous success today with a shotgun draw on the left side. Look at the hole here as Buford Jordan turns upfield, and you see how strong he is.
A gain of 21 yards. 35 seconds left. Incomplete. Intended for Marion Brown, number 82. It would have taken a great catch, but the pressure is on that man, Tim Mazzetti. He had a 50-yarder last year against Arizona. His longest this year is 40 yards.
One more completion, and they are in his range.
Second and 10. Walton calls for quiet. Buford Jordan almost explodes out of there. Mike McKibben, the linebacker, takes him down. We've got 26 seconds left. Joe Pendry on pins and needles now. He knows he's walking on eggshells. Dick Corey, the head coach of New Orleans. Pittsburgh has 3 timeouts left. New Orleans just took its last one. 26 seconds left on the clock.
So Johnny Walton has got to work the sideline. He's got to be ready for hurry-up football. And Tim Mazzetti may have to run onto the field in a hurry. Tim Mazzetti hit from 54 yards out in college.
a 50-yarder last year against Arizona. Tim Mazzetti had a string of 10 straight field goals before missing a 47-yarder last week. 25 seconds left. This is Walton. Drops, throws, has a man. It's complete. Big catch there by Charlie Smith, who's been the hero of the ball game. The clock now down to 20 seconds. They stop it while they move the chains. Keep in mind, there are no timeouts remaining for New Orleans. Mazzetti's on the field. Now he comes back off.
The clock stops with a first down, remember.
All right, and John Walton throws a clock, throws it out of bounds to stop the clock. He was concerned that time went out in the setup. He was always concerned that they might get a penalty.
So Tim Mazzetti has a chance to be a hero now. This is within his range.
It'll be a 41-yarder. He's already kicked a 33-yarder in this ball game. 17 seconds left. The kick is up. It's long enough. It's good. The whole stadium rocking. Tim Mazzetti from 41 yards. The Breakers lead 27-24 with 12 seconds left.
Look at the reaction of Tim Mazzetti right here after he hits the ball. Head down. His head is down all the way until now. Watch. Look at this. Gazzarino, the holder, hugs him, and he knows he's done it. And pandemonium. He still hadn't looked up. He still didn't look up. You talk about concentration. And pandemonium has broken loose here in the Superdome. Holders! Gazzarino, Timmy, was the third-string holder.
Well, they'll be dancing on Bourbon Street tonight. 5-1, hanging tough in the most balanced of all the divisions, the Southern Division in the United States Football League. 12 seconds left now for Pittsburgh. Obviously, they have a chance, but by looking at the players, they feel it's over. It'll take an outstanding return by William Miller. But I'm wondering now if Mazzetti will even kick it away or keep it on the ground.
I think he'll squib it.
Good kick, kick it on the ground, try to have an up man take it. Oh, he kicks it away. High kick, short kick. William Miller at the 10. 15, 20, 25, 7 seconds. They'll have one shot. Lawrence Williams made the tackle.
Tim Mazzetti, working with a third-string holder, may have kicked the winning points today. Nolan Franz is normally the holder. Joe Resnick, the backup. But today, it was number 1, Dario Cazzarino, who held the ball for Tim Mazzetti.
Quite a picture right there. Dick Corey and Tim Mazzetti. You've got to love the Breakers. You've got to love Pittsburgh. They both had spectacular efforts here this afternoon. 7 seconds left. Glenn Carano going deep for Flowers. Incomplete as time expires. And the New Orleans Breakers have done it again. They've come from behind for the win. That is the hero, Tim Mazzetti. Right now, Tim Mazzetti is with our sideline reporter, Jim Bergamo.
All right,
right, Tim, what every field goal kicker dreams of, kicking the game winner. How did you feel going in?
In front of a home crowd, that makes it even better. I'll tell you what, I have to mention this. We've had both our number 1 and the number 2 holder have been out. Dario Cazzarino didn't hold till Friday of this week. Came in, did an excellent job. Line did great. I'm just glad I had the opportunity. Super feeling.
When you kicked it, did you know in the moment of impact that it was good?
I look at my holder. I don't even look up, and I saw his face. He went, yes! So, I mean, I knew right away. But...
All right, Tim, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right. We'll have Dick Horace for you in just a moment.
Well, Lee Gross Cup, quite a ball game, quite a finish.
I think it's the best game we've covered this year by far. It had every interesting element you could possibly imagine. And look at the emotion of Dick Curry.